Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Tsunade passes the Clan Restoration Act for Naruto Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Tsunade looked out the window of the Hokage mansion. Her village had prospered in the last 2 years since the end of the Fourth Shinobi War. The child of the prophecy had indeed been Naruto, who had ended the war by killing Madara and bringing Sasuke back. Though Sasuke was being kept in the underground prison, kept from the eyes of the public, Tsunade knew Naruto hoped more than anyone that Sasuke would get out and be normal again. Tsunade didn't think it was possible, as Sasuke had done too much, seen too much, and killed too many. His mind was messed up, but it was up to Naruto and Sakura to accept it. While Sakura preferred to be on her own anymore, Naruto could not be left alone. Since becoming the village hero, everybody begged for his autograph, offered to buy him drinks, and gave him gifts. Though none of this had inflated his ego, he had noticed it. Every once in a while, she would happen to look out the window and see a note he would leave on her window when he needed to talk to someone. At first it had been all about how he had lost his ability to use the Nine-Tails chakra mode, because he had began to harbor feelings that he tried to deny. That the villagers really had changed from the murderous people they once were, to going as far as to make things dedicated to him. Books, food named after him, and even kids' toys that looked like him. Tsunade would always offer the best advice she could, but she could never tell how much it helped. As she stared out the window, she spotted another part that had changed since becoming a hero. Naruto was walking by the Hokage mansion, with Karen tagging close by to him, obviously flirting with him. Since the war, Karen had been sworn to the Leaf Village, and became a Leaf Village Kunoichi. Being part of the Umbu had trained her to be stealthy, but in the village, she was just as loud-mouthed as she always was. Tsunade counted down to herself, and when she got to 0, she saw exactly what she always saw in this situation. Some other girl would walk with Naruto, and Hinata would be close in tail, feeling like she wanted to join in and flirt with Naruto. She was always too nervous though. Even on the nights Naruto would need to vent, she couldn't tell him about her. She needed to be more flirty on her own, without Naruto going to her first. The door opened, causing Tsunade to turn around quickly. Ino walked in the room, and shut the door behind her. "What is it, Ino?" Tsunade asked, slightly annoyed that Ino hadn't knocked. "The Sand siblings have arrived. The Kazekage wishes to speak with you," Ino reported. Tsunade looked at Ino with more annoyance in her face. "Where is Shizen?" she demanded. Ino was a terrible secretary. "You gave her the day off, remember?" Ino asked. As Tsunade thought back, this week had been full of binge drinking while she worked. Wincing slightly at the thought of how unprofessional she was, she made a quick mental note to stop working and drinking at the same time. What was left of her liver would thank her. "Oh yeah? I remember. Well, send him in and knock next time," Tsunade said, slightly embarrassed with herself. "Okay." Ino bowed and exited. Tsunade had a moment to think about what was going to be said. The Kazekage had asked for this meeting after hearing about Tsunade passing an act for Naruto, which hadn't been used in a long time. What made him think about getting even slightly involved was beyond her, but she was willing to hear him out. As Gaara walked into the room with Kankuro and Temari, Tsunade took a healthy pull and the bottle of booze she had at her desk. She had to stop doing that, but now was not the time. "Thank you for seeing us," Gaara said as he took a seat. Kankuro and Temari stood behind him. Temari herself looked quite nervous. It was rather funny to see her so nervous about whatever, though she was sure it had to do with Naruto, which was going to probably be the topic of this conversation. "Is this about Naruto? Because, I haven't even talked to him about the Clan Restoration Act I passed for him. I'm aware he may not take it, but if he does not want to have multiple wives, then I can trash the act. It's a shame he doesn't know about it. Because the Sand Village hoped to be a part of this. A lot of talking has been done, and we would like to offer Temari under a political marriage," Gaara informed, and Temari blushed. Tsunade looked at her quizzically. She didn't think Gaara would force her to this, but maybe something was being hidden here. "Temari," Tsunade called. Temari snapped out of her trance. She looked at Tsunade and stood at attention. "We should talk in private. If you will excuse us, Lord Kazekage?" Gaara nodded and stood. He quickly led Kankuro out of the room. After the brothers left, Tsunade activated a soundproof seal in the room. She took another long swig of her booze and offered Temari the bottle. Temari took it gladly and finished the bottle, which should have lasted Tsunade another 4 hours of work. After she sat the bottle back on the desk, Temari sat back and tried and relax. "So tell me, did your village force you into this?" Temari blushed and paused for a moment, feeling awkward about this conversation. "They didn't. She breathed deeply, steadying herself. Just act like it's a mission, she thought to herself. I like him. He has always had such drive and passion. I would like to stay here a while and get to know him. You know, you will have a lot of competition for his attention. If he does like you will have to share him with other women. Does that bother you? Tsunade asked, accepting her short answer. As long as he loves me, I don't care. I know what I'm possibly getting into. That's good. But what happened to Shikamaru? Temari paused a moment. Looking angry at first, she looked at Tsunade. That man is too lazy for me. He hates being troubled by anything, and I'd rather have someone who likes life. I see. Okay. As long as Naruto is fine with the CRA, then you are in. If not, I'll ask him what he thinks about the political marriage. Tsunade said, standing to shake Temari's hand. Smiling, Tsunade brought down the barrier and went to the door. Gaara was standing patiently, and Kankuro was asleep on a waiting chair. Thank you for your time, Lady Tsunade, Temari said as she bowed. You're welcome. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. We will be in town for a while. May we get some village passes? Gaara asked. Sure. My secretary will get them for you. Tell her I said it was okay. Tsunade smiled and headed back into her office. Going to her desk, she took a paper out and wrote on it quickly. Going to the other side of the room, she took out a messenger bird. Putting the note on its leg, she opened the window. Naruto, she whispered to the bird, and it tweeted happily. Flying from her, it took off toward the specific person. Naruto walked around happily, having people talk to him as he passed. Naruto liked the recognition he got from everybody, though it did bother him sometimes. What really bothered him was how the women of the village seemed to change their tones so quickly. Though the one that was tagged to him now had always acted like such. Let's go eat, Karen said, holding onto his arm. Her holding onto him never bothered him. He liked her a bit, and he liked the jealous looks some people gave him. He felt bad liking the jealous looks, but it was hard not to. Naruto was just about to answer her, when a messenger bird came down and landed on his shoulder. He recognized the bird as being one of the Hokages and took the note off its leg. He looked to the note. Naruto, rooftop. Now. Tsunade. Naruto sighed, wondering what he did not. He usually only got called there as he did something stupid. He looked to Karen, who was trying to seem like she wasn't interested in the note. Even though they weren't dating, Karen got jealous easily. It was very funny to see. I gotta go. Tsunade wants to see me, Naruto said to Karen. Karen puffed her cheeks stubbornly and sighed. We can go eat another time. Promise, Naruto stated, holding his pinky out. Karen smiled, and pinky shook. You know, if Tsunade were younger, I'd say you were cheating on me. Naruto smiled and shook his head. We're not dating, and I'm not with Tsunade. I call her Granny for God's sake, Naruto informed and laughed. Karen blushed and turned her head stubbornly. She didn't like him bringing up them not dating. As Naruto turned to walk away, Hinata quickly hid. She hated not feeling able to approach him. As she stood, knowing he was walking her way, she thought about how weird she felt, following him all the time. She wasn't a little kid anymore. It was creepy now. Well, she thought. I could ask him now. As he walked by her, Hinata stepped out and closed her eyes tightly as she yelled. Naruto! I'd like to ask you. Not now, Hinata. Gotta go to Tsunade's, Naruto said deep in thought, cutting Hinata off. Hinata felt crushed, standing completely still. I should have known. The bird was for him. I should have recognized it, Hinata thought to herself, completely crushed. Better luck next time, Karen said, popping up behind her. Hinata screamed in terror from being scared, and fell down. Just so you know, though, I'd be okay with you two going out. You're cuter than I am. I would stand no chance. No! I wasn't going to ask him out. Hinata yelled in her though lying defense. Please don't act like you weren't following us. I could sense you following us this whole time, Karen whispered. I'm sorry. It's okay. I know you have liked him a long time, but you gotta act like you just tried, but try again, Karen encouraged. He has to say yes eventually. Naruto got to the top of the tower to see Tsunade looking over the railing. As she looked over the village, Naruto walked up and stood next to her. You wanted to see me? Yeah. Naruto, what would you think if I told you that I told you, hypothetically, I passed the Clan Restoration Act for you? You would have to tell me what a Clan Restoration Act is. It's exactly what the name implies. Tsunade yelled in aggravation over his continued stupidity. Have you ever heard of polygamy? No. Multiple wives. Naruto said, and paused quickly. He thought for a moment before saying anything. Wait. You want me to have multiple wives? I'm asking what you think of the idea. Oh, Naruto sat by Tsunade, and took the time to think. If you don't like it, there is this, Tsunade stated, handing him a folder. Naruto read the tab, which said Naruto, political marriage. Political marriage? Naruto asked, shocked. You can look in it if you want. It may ruin the surprise for you at least. Well, it has to be Temari, Naruto said, surprising Tsunade. Wow. You figured that one out. I only know one girl from another village. It was easy. Naruto smirked. Tsunade groaned in annoyance. I need to think about both, Naruto murmured. She is here. She wants to get to know you better. She knows she likes you. Not love obviously, but likes. I thought she liked Shikamaru. I thought the same thing. But they fell apart some time ago, I guess. You don't need to answer any time soon, but I hope it's within a month. Remember, you don't have to marry anyone if you say yes on the spot. I know, I don't know, it feels strange to think about. We have talked about stranger things. Stranger to me, at least. What do you think about it? I think, from a man's standpoint, it is like a dream come true. I'm surprised any man would think about it, but you aren't just any man. Do you think I should? From a Hokage's standpoint, yes. You would be saving 2 clans. As a person, I can't make that decision. What bonuses would I be getting out of it? Besides several wives? Tsunade asked, surprised he would ask the question. Though I guess that could be a punishment too. If you didn't play your cards right well, you would be part of the Shinobi Council. Besides that, you would receive a clan home. I see, and if I just accepted the political marriage? He further questioned. Tsunade was surprised he was covering all grounds with this questioning. He almost sounded like a Hokage getting insight into a situation from his council. You would strengthen the relationship with the Sand Village. Though we already have a strong relationship with them, the people in the village would take it harshly. I really have to ask that you at least accept that. So basically, I have the choice of pleasing one village, or both. Well, in the eyes of some, yes, Tsunade said awkwardly. Though that is a very straightforward way to look at it. Think of it like this. How many girls do you know that would be crushed if you were suddenly ripped from the market? Well, Naruto mumbled. He instantly went through the list of women who treated him differently, or at least like they were into him at all. How about this? We could say you are accepting the Clan Restoration Act, and see who wants in. Accept the political marriage, and go on with life for now. Does that sound okay? Just a second, Naruto whispered, and closed his eyes. Tsunade had seen this before. He was going to ask the fox's opinion. Naruto opened his eyes, and he was in his mind's land. It was a pure white room, with spikes of orange shooting up along the background. Turning, Naruto found the fox, looking at him with a look of boredom. The two looked at each other for a moment before either moved. Being uncaged at this point, the fox suddenly swiped at Naruto, who jumped into the air. Naruto changed into his sage mode just in time to catch the fox's paw, and get swiped into the ground. As Naruto stood, struggling to hold the fox's paw up above him, he yelled to the fox. Can we skip this right now? I want to talk. No training today? The fox grinned slyly as he raised his paw off of Naruto. Laying down again, he watched as Naruto walked up to him, and sit on his paw. What do you think about what Tsunade is asking of me? The fox looked at Naruto for a moment, and sighed. I would have thought you would have liked the idea of several wives. You always surprise me. Well? First, this is your mind. Make something in it so I'm not bored all the time. Naruto sighed, and closed his eyes. He knew what he would make. He just had to do it right. Close your eyes, Naruto commanded. The fox grunted, and did as he was told. When Naruto opened his eyes, the space looked like a giant version of the Leaf Village. The fox opened his eyes when he felt Naruto crawl to the top of the fox's head. Looking around, the fox sighed. Of course you make it look like the village. You really are Hokage material. Everything looks like it does when I see things through your eyes. So what do you think? The fox walked around in the large village, that was sized to make it seem like he was the size of a cat. The fox sighed yet again. If the fox didn't know Naruto so much, he would tell him to figure it out on his own, though Naruto was only asking for advice. After the war, Naruto took his time to try and shoulder all of the fox's hate. Though he later took Itachi's advice to share a burden, from when they met a second time during the war. Naruto began letting people into his mind to meet the fox. Anyone close to Naruto met him, and the fox eventually began to open up. I think you should consider it. I look at it like, combine your stamina and power with other people's positives, and you have some great possible ninja. Though the usual family function for you humans may be changed because of it, I say go for it. I see I'll leave for now so you can get acquainted with your new home. I could resize it sometime so it is correctly sized, and you could attack. It could be good training. Okay. Stop by with friends next time. Is that a part of the reason you said go for it? Because you want more people to visit you? That I want you to be happy, and I could have a future container, the fox said, and smiled when he said the last one. Naruto laughed at first, then jumped down from the fox's head. Thanks for that. He'll be sure to come by soon. Naruto closed his eyes and exited his mind. Naruto opened his eyes yet again and looked to Tsunade. Tsunade stood next to him and had seen him change to sage mode. She had met the fox before, once while the fox was angry, and once when he was calm. He wanted to fight? She asked. Yeah. He stopped and gave me advice. I made him a copy of the village in my mind. He seemed to like it. That's good, but what did he say? Kinda what you said, from the Hokage's standpoint. Though, he put it more like how it would affect him kinda. I see. But what do you think? Well, Naruto started considering his options. I will accept the political marriage. And the CRA? I accept. Naruto had accepted the Clan Restoration Act, which meant that Tsunade had a lot to do. While Naruto was out getting to know Temari, Tsunade was putting together a list of possible people for Naruto to marry. Though she had put it off for 2 weeks, wanting to give Naruto a little bit of a head start with Temari so the people of the Sand Village would be happy, she decided it was time to start doing things. She had set up an anonymous sign-up sheet at the door outside the mansion, and left it there for 7 days. In that amount of time, 10 people had signed the list. At first, they had to look at it in amazement. Then again, he was a hero. Besides that, several other political marriage contracts had come in, some from within the village. The Hyuga clan had been the first to put a couple out, offering both Hinata and Hanabi Hyuga. After that, the Yamanaka clan had been the second, offering up Ino. Other villages had sent contracts also, one coming from the Lightning Village, one from the Mist, and several from the Hidden Stone Village. Tsunade felt cautious over who to pick from the Stone Village, as some of Minato's greatest enemies had been from that village. A knock at the door signaled the start of the meetings. This one was going to probably one of the strangest, as it involved the fate of a 12-year-old girl. Come in, Tsunade commanded, and in walked the first appointment. The head of the Hyuga clan, Hayashi Hyuga, walked into the office. In tail were Hinata and Hanabi. Hinata looking nervous as ever, and Hanabi looking as confident as always. Thank you, Lady Tsunade, Hayashi murmured as he sat in the chair in front of the desk. Hanabi and Hinata sat to either side of him. First off, why Hanabi? I will answer that, Hanabi called as she stood up. Tsunade looked to Hanabi with a slight look of surprise. While Hanabi was young, she sounded very mature. Go ahead, Hayashi stated, giving her a nod. Tsunade disliked his position in this. The two girls should have come alone, rather this getting turned into a possible council meeting between the two elders. Naruto has always been so nice to me. There were times where he would buy me things if I had forgotten my money. I know it was really a matter of right place, right time. Still, he would bring me gifts just because it was a nice thing to do, and he wanted to be friendly. Though there was no intentional romance from him, I still felt like I was growing to love him. I've always known my sister has loved Naruto, which is the only reason I held myself back. Now that he is up for the Clan Restoration Act, I can actually tell him how I feel. There was even a time where he took me to get dumplings. While I know it meant nothing, I still view it as my first real date. Tsunade paused for a moment, thinking about Hanabi's statement. She definitely meant it. Tsunade just couldn't decide if it was okay that such a young girl might get married. I have a problem with your age, though. Under the Clan Restoration Act, any girl over the age of 12 is allowed. Hayashi instantly insisted. Tsunade looked back to him, thinking once again that he should not have been there. She is the younger sister, and if she is not put in this, she will receive the caged bird seal. The only reason she hasn't got it yet is because I have fought a rule that is sure to be passed, saying that only one person per generation can be without the caged bird seal. The entire Hyuga clan is behind it. And there it was. Though he always seemed mean to his girls, to her at least, he showed his reason right there. He was always looking out for them, and trying to protect them in the long run. Hinata never needed the intense training Hanabi received because Hinata would always have the branch of the clan to protect her. This was the easiest way to make sure his daughter would escape a life of possible torture. I see. Tsunade knew Naruto would have fought it if there had not been a good reason for him to marry her. This was going to be the reason Naruto was going to accept her. Now Hinata Hayashi started, allowing her to stand before he started to speak, but was instantly cut off by Hinata herself. Father! Could I please speak to Lady Tsunade alone? Hinata asked awkwardly. Hayashi looked at Hinata for a moment, then sighed. Suddenly standing, he left. Hinata sighed, thinking that when he stood, he would strike her. Go ahead, Tsunade said after Hayashi left. Hinata took a deep breath, and did her best. I have always loved Naruto in some ways since I was young. He always inspired me to try harder, he always looked out for his friends, always stuck up for me, always helped me, Hinata said, blushing so hard her face looked like a tomato. She played with her fingers as she talked, obviously more nervous than Tsunade expected. Tsunade had always known Hinata loved the village hero, even back when he was the bane of the village. That's enough. I know all of that, Hinata. You can sit. You are one of the people that I was going to tell Naruto he should pursue even if you didn't show up. I'm sure he is going to pick you. That was enough of a promise that she would marry her love, and Hinata passed out. Hanabi looked at the body on the ground for a second, and walked over. As she tried to wake her sister, Tsunade took the moment to speak to Hanabi with her father still out of the room. I will strongly suggest he accept you too. If, for nothing else, then for your own sake. You have plenty of time, however, to convince him of your love. Tsunade informed. Thank you, Lady Hokage. As Hanabi kept trying to revive Hinata, Tsunade couldn't shake the feeling this was going to be a long day. With Naruto and Temari. Naruto jumped through the air, following Temari as close as he could. The two had been dating for 13 days, and had started to get along really well instantly. Temari was able to understand Naruto easily because a lot of what happened to him had happened to her own brother. Naruto couldn't understand why she liked him so much, but knew that if he was going to be married to her and several others, he needed to be able to create bonds quickly, as the act would have to be viewed as upheld as soon as possible. Getting to spend time with Temari was nice though. She was willing to eat ramen constantly, just as he liked. Just yesterday, she home-cooked him ramen, though she made something else for herself. She had even gotten him to eat vegetables, though it had resulted in some very close contact, which made them both uneasy at first. Now though, they felt at ease around each other. Even though it was just yesterday, they felt closer to each other from that one experience. Today, they were going to get something to eat at the Yakinkakyu, the place Choji loved to eat at, and Temari said she had a surprise for Naruto. Naruto didn't pry, as he wanted the surprise to remain a surprise. The two landed on the ground in front of the barbecue place, and walked inside. A waitress almost instantly took them to a seat, and got them their drinks, and took their order. As they waited for them to start the small grill they could cook their own food on, and bring the meat, they took the time to talk. So, do you think you are ready for the surprise? Temari asked, looking at him happily. Yeah. I'm ready for anything. Naruto shouted excitedly. Temari smiled happily, with a small piece of a sneaky look on her face. We will just have to wait and see about that. Just wait and see. The waitress brought them their food, and the two began to speak again. Though they kept an eye on their food, the two were excited to talk. So why did you want to be part of a political marriage? Naruto asked. If it would have been anyone else, I think I would have stayed away from the idea, but you have always been nice to people, when people have been mean to you. You are able to overcome great odds when everyone tells you to give up and it's hopeless. You have always been willing to help anyone who wants or needs help. You have helped my brother so many times, and when I heard you were becoming part of the CRA, I knew I had my chance to at least get to know you, rather than having no chance at all due to me hardly being around, and all the other attractive women here. Temari had stopped speaking, and felt a hand on hers. Looking down, Naruto had taken her hand in his, holding it tightly. Smiling, she looked up to Naruto. Why did you accept the political marriage? Temari finally asked. Naruto twitched a bit, and rubbed his hand through his hair. Well, at first it was to strengthen our village's bonds. Then, well, we started hanging out. At first, it was getting to know you, but I really like you now. I mean, it's not love yet, but I think it will come. I'm glad I accepted the marriage. Temari smiled, and held his hand for a moment longer. They would have to eat their food before it burnt. In Tsunade's office. So why did you two come together? Tsunade asked the two kunoichi who sat before her. Both Ino and Karen had walked into her office at the same time. While it didn't surprise Tsunade that they both had signed up to be part of this, she didn't expect the two to come busting into her office, like they usually did, fighting with each other as they came in. Well, I had the first appointment, Karen instantly said. And I didn't want her getting the appointment ahead of me. Asuma told me before he died never to let my rival win, and since Sakura has barely been seen by anybody, Karen took up the role of being my rival. Ino inserted. Tsunade sighed, but decided the day would go faster, since she would have a lot of the suspected list taken care of right away. Though there was a lot more to do, she felt it would be better in the long run. Find another joint appointment, so one at a time please. Explain why you want to be with Naruto. Go ahead, Ino said, sounding too sure of herself. Fine. Lady Tsunade, I'm sure you have seen Naruto and I walking around the village. He always smiles when we are together. He has saved my life, brought me here, and he insisted I become a Leaf Village ninja. My life, for the past 2 years, is all thanks to him. I'd be insane if I didn't love him even a little. Alright, and Ino? I always used to be a Sasuke fangirl. I'm aware of what that did to my friendships with other people, and what it did to my life as a whole. Though Naruto never treated me differently for the way I acted. Hell, he even ran errands for me if I asked. We went out before also. When he brought Sasuke back, I stayed away from Sasuke because I had made up my mind. Naruto was definitely better for me anyway. And you don't mind sharing? Well, not really. Except with her. Karen yelled, pointing to Ino. Ino instantly stood up, getting in Karen's face. Like you're going to get a chance, Ino yelled. You think you will? He will be too busy with me. Says you. This is getting annoying. I should just recommend one or the other, Tsunade thought to herself. Unable to control her mind, she remembered all the trouble Naruto had given her over the years. Calling her granny in front of anybody, no matter how important the person was. Giving her more gray hairs than nature could in 10 years. He was a constant pain in her side through the years. Though he was tied with troubles he had given her with times he had saved her. Maybe a little payback would be okay. Okay. Thank you. I will definitely put you both down as important people to consider. Tsunade interrupted them. Not wanting this meeting to come to a fistfight, she was quick to end it. Standing, she quickly moved, and though laughing, shoved them out the door as fast as possible. Alright, maybe the worst is over. With Naruto. Naruto and Temari had finished eating, and got their check. As they walked out, Temari took Naruto's hand in hers. The two smiled, Temari realizing that if she wanted to live happily, she needed to try her hardest, and Naruto realized having someone like Temari around was changing his life for the better. Gotta close your eyes till we get to the secret place. Temari whispered into his ear. Oh. Okay. Naruto said excitedly, and closed his eyes tightly. Temari smiled happily as she led her husband-to-be through the village. There were quite a few people who looked at the two, several smiling at the couple walking along. As they walked along, Temari reached her destination. The Konoha Hot Springs. You can open your eyes, Temari whispered. Naruto opened them, and looked at where they were. Blushing instantly, he looked to Temari, who smiled brightly at him. She stood on her tiptoes, and kissed him on the lips. Here? He stammered. Is it okay? Or would you rather go some other place? She asked instantly. Here is fine, there is a divider, right? Not in the couple's rooms. Oh. Naruto whispered, blushing more. Can we go in? Yeah, Temari said, smiling brightly. Walking inside, the two went to the front desk, and Temari was the one who spoke, as Naruto seemed very nervous. Temari, though, seemed very sure of herself. We would like a couple's room. Are you Temari? I've heard about you. Congratulations on getting engaged to the village's hero. You gotta treat him well, the girl at the front desk said after Temari ordered. The desk girl grabbed the key to one of the rooms after she finished speaking. Of course. He has always been good to me. So I have to be good to him. The desk girl took them to a back room, and unlocked it. Filling the center tub with hot water, she started to coals, and poured water on them, steaming up the room instantly. She turned back toward them when she was done, and smiled. Changing rooms are on the other side of the room. We ask that you keep things clean in the changing rooms, and dirty out here, she said, implying the obvious. Temari and Naruto looked at each other. With Tsunade. Tsunade was almost done with the meetups. She had just met with Samui from Kumo. Tsunade didn't trust her. She was a cold person, who had the body Tsunade wished she had when she was 20. She seemed to only respect Naruto under the means he was powerful. Sadly, because it was the only political marriage contract from Kumo, she reluctantly accepted it. IWA had sent a couple people for Naruto, saying he was welcome to dismiss any of them. Kuratsuchi was the only one she had agreed to, as the other ones were openly against the Leaf Village, to her face. Kuratsuchi probably disliked the village, and would probably butt heads with some of the other girls, but she was more manageable. That, and if they had the third Sechikage's grandchild, they could probably use her as a ransom if she became too much to deal with. At the end of the list was the person offered from the Mist Village. Ren Yoshida was her name, and she was a hunter-nin before accepting to be an offering for the political marriage. Besides being part of the ANB for her village, she did missions as one of the 7 swordsmen of the Mist. While Tsunade doubted they would send her with her sword, maybe it would show the Mist Village's dedication to the Leaf to entrust them with one of the swordsmen. Tsunade sat back, waiting for Rin to arrive. After this, she would have to wait 2 hours for Naruto to arrive, and see who she recommended. Maybe the waiting would be a good time for a nap. It had been a long day. Lying her head down on the desk, she closed her eyes, and started to drift off to sleep. Shizen was back today, and would wake her when the next person came. Tsunade had barely felt sleep start to take her when the door opened, and Tsunade woke up with a start. At the door was Shizen. Tsunade sat up slowly, and rubbed her eyes. Grabbing the bottle on her desk, she tried to take a drink, but remembered too late that the bottle was empty. Sighing, she sat the bottle down. "You have another person here for your interview," Shizen said, throwing another bottle to Shizen. Tsunade's jaw dropped in shock. Shizen had never supported her drinking while working routine. Maybe she was doing a good deed and deserved something for it. She wasn't sure. "Thanks, send her in." "Right." Tsunade had just taken a big gulp of her new drink, and the last appointment walked in. Ren was 5 feet 2 inches and thin, with pale and lovely skin. Tsunade liked the look of her. She had smaller than Tsunade, which was completely unrelated to her liking. Ren the girl looked shy, but was obviously hiding an interior strength. No one who was shy and timid could survive as a hunter-nin. "Hello, Lady Hokage. I'm pleased to meet you," Ren whispered. Tsunade smiled, and waved her to a seat in front of the desk that quite a few girls had sat in that day. Ren sat down, and looked around the room. "Before we start, I have a question. What are the plans with your swords?" Ren looked at Tsunade for a moment with a look of surprise, and rubbed her head, smiling, finally. "Those things? They will be here with me if my political marriage contract is accepted. Though, as was in the stipulation, I may have to go back to the village once in a while. I still have missions that I need to be a part of with the swordsman. Is that okay?" In the past this would have been a problem. But she didn't see it as a problem considering Konoha and Kiri were on very friendly terms already. What secrets could there be that she would bring back to the Mist Village? "That's absolutely fine. I expect some of the other out-of-village girls to visit home also. There is no problem." Ren seemed relieved about that, and seemed to relax a bit. "Thank you." "Now about Naruto, why do you think you would be a good wife for him?" "Well, I'm new to this whole relationship thing, but back in the war, he saved my life. I'm sure I was just another face to him, but it was obviously a big deal to me. When my village heard about the Clan Restoration Act being passed for him, I decided what better way to thank him than to giving my life to helping him rebuild his clan." "I see." Tsunade liked the answer. It was honest, like a lot of the reasons so far, and it showed that she did like Naruto. "Also, I can summon tigers, and my elements are lightning and water," and quickly added. Tsunade internally sighed. That had nothing to do with her relationship with Naruto, but whatever. "All right. We will have plenty of time to become good friends, but for right now, I think that will be all. We will be accepting your marriage contract, so gather whatever things you want from your village, and be ready to move into the new clan house." "Thank you, Lady Hokage. I look forward to my new life." Ren stood up and left, leaving Tsunade with the feeling that Ren was not going to have any problem fitting in with Naruto. She did feel bad about all the internal attention struggles that were going to take place, but it was something he would have to learn to deal with. At the hot springs room, Naruto walked from the changing room nervously, and looked to the changing room that Temari was in. At some point within the next hour, he was probably going to see her naked. While the thought did excite him, he was nervous. For the first time, he was actually thinking about how he looked. Before he had time to run back in the changing room, and make sure he had done everything possible to look good, the door to the changing room opened. Temari had her hair down, which was something Naruto had never seen. He wasn't sure, but Temari, who was completely naked under the white towel she wore, stepped out of the room. Naruto gulped as she walked to the tub in the center of the room, and getting in with her towel on. Naruto was a little crushed she didn't drop the towel, but internally scolded himself for hoping to see her naked. Trying to get his mind off of it, he poured more water so the room would steam up. He was successful in making the room steam up a lot, so much to the point that it became hard to see. Fumbling his way around, he made it to the hot spring water tub in the center of the room, and got in with Temari. "This feels good," Temari sighed, moving to cuddle up with Naruto. Naruto wrapped his arm around her shoulders, and sat back. Though it was awkward, he tried to relax. "Time to get rid of this." Temari took the towel off, and tossed it behind her. Naruto tensed, and knew that relaxing was out of the question now. Temari moved closer to Naruto once again, and laid her head on his shoulder. It was quiet for a moment, and Naruto could feel himself blushing. "Do you want me to put my towel back on?" Temari asked after a minute. Naruto shook his head, but decided to vocalize his answer. "No, I actually hoped you would." Temari put a finger to his lips, understanding his nervousness in the situation. She knew what he was trying to say, and was happy he was trying to vocalize his hope that she would have taken the towel off. It made her feel attractive. "Would you take your towel off?" she asked. "Why, yeah." "Sorry if I was bad," Naruto mumbled, and ran his hands through his hair. "Sorry if I was, but you have to practice so the other wives you will have don't complain, but I never will." "Thanks, Temari, but we're going to be in this together." "Do you mean they are my wives too?" she said, sounding falsely excited. Naruto laughed at the idea. "You know what I meant." Naruto laughed. "Do we split the wives 50-50 at night?" "You're awful." Naruto smirked. The both of them laughed in the tub, feeling less awkward together than ever before. At the Hokage Mansion, hours later. Naruto came up the steps to the roof of Hokage Mansion, and saw Tsunade standing at the top. She looked over her shoulder to him, and smiled. Naruto walked over before saying anything. "How did today go?" Naruto asked, leaning over the rail to look over the village. He heard Tsunade sigh. "It was okay. Hinata showed up with her father, and Hanabi." "Why was Hanabi there?" Naruto asked. When Tsunade didn't answer, he looked shocked. "The Hyuga clan is trying to pass a clan law that only one person in a generation may go without the caged bird seal. Hanabi would receive it if she doesn't marry you. That, and she seems rather infatuated with you." I was surprised by her statements. "I strongly recommend both of them." "Okay, why not, but Hinata was there. She wants in this too?" "She has loved you for a long time. I know that is falling on deaf ears, but talk to her about it." "Okay, who else?" "Ino and Karen came at the same time. I recommend you accept them both. Ino actually has an in-village political marriage contract to back her. You don't have to accept her if you don't want though." "I might as well. Karen and her are best friends, and I would hate for their relationship to be strained because I didn't accept one of them." "Alright then, Samui from Kumo came. She seems cold, but we have a decent relationship with her village, and you should accept the political marriage to keep it that way." "Right, I remember her. She made her friends stop beating me up when I said they could beat me in place of Sasuke, and I saved her, but when she was trapped in that jar thing Madara had." "Yeah. Then there was Kuratsuchi. She seems less hateful of our village than the others from her village did. You should accept her too, but watch yourself around her. I know the other girls will watch your back, but you should make sure she feels welcome." "Okay, and is there another?" "Yeah, there was Rin Yoshida. She is a swordsman of the mist. She says you saved her during the war." "Maybe I will remember her when I see her." "Maybe. She said she decided you could have her as a wife, saying you saved her." "And I should marry her too, right?" "Yup." "Okay, so then that's 8? If you were anybody else, that would be a problem. You have the stamina for it though," Tsunade said, sounding uninterested. "So how was the date with Temari?" When Naruto didn't answer, she glanced at him. He was blushing, and trying to look away from her. She sighed, and shook her head. She was silent for a moment, before she started laughing. "So Temari has you practicing? I don't know if I should count that as helping, or staking her claims." "Well, I'll start meeting up with them. I recommend taking Hinata out first. You two have a lot to talk about." "Okay, tomorrow." Hinata waited patiently at the gates of the Hyuga compound, looking around for her date. She was nervous enough that she was blushing and feeling like she would pass out, yet she held strong from the excitement that she was about to go on a date with Naruto. It was a dream she had for years, and it was finally being realized. Her father stood by her, wishing to speak with him before they left. Down the street, Naruto was walking along. Though he was tired from having to get up to meet Hayashi's insane wish of him getting there around 8 in the morning, Naruto decided to go to sleep early, so he could make the clan head happy. As he got closer, he saw them look to him. Hayashi didn't change his expression, but Hinata seemed to almost faint, which she did do a lot. Namikaze. Good to see you, Hayashi said, as aggravated as ever. Hayashi noticed Naruto instantly look nervous, and decided to try smiling to make things less awkward. To Naruto, the smile looked villainous, like he planned some evil against him. Seeing the shocked and scared look on Naruto's face, he erased the smile from his face, looking almost embarrassed he had tried. Naruto looked at Hinata, and she looked at him. The instant their eyes met, she quickly looked away, blushing heavily. She was now absolutely unsure she was ready for this date. She had hoped she would have been strong enough for this, however, she was not. Bao, I want her back before 9. Just because you two will be married does not mean you are, Hayashi demanded. Naruto nodded quickly, causing Hayashi to sigh. Naruto, I was trying to instigate you to argue with me. There will be times when we will argue, as I will be your father-in-law, and someday if you become Hokage, I will be part of your council. Oh okay, Naruto said, slightly weary as Hayashi held his hand out, and a house helper who had been hiding handed him a duffel bag. Keep her tonight. I hate the idea of her ever sleeping in a bed with anyone but herself because I am her father, but I realize it will happen. Handing the duffel bag to Naruto, Hinata stared at the bag in disbelief. Feeling faint, she shook her head quickly, and leaned against a wall for support. Naruto himself couldn't grasp the situation. Are you serious? Naruto asked in disbelief. I am. Now go, Hayashi said. When they stood around still with dumbfounded looks on their faces, Hayashi got annoyed. Go! The two took off in fright, and ran together. Though they didn't go very far, the two made it out of sight of Hinata's seemingly crazy father. As they stopped, the two looked at each other. Hinata quickly looked away, blushing. Naruto smiled his usual fox grin as they walked. Well, we have all day. What do you want to do? Naruto asked, breaking the silence. We could get our ramen, Hinata murmured. She internally kicked herself, hoping that now that they were going to go out, and were already engaged, she would be able to talk to him without having any more problems. No such luck. You want to? The excitement in Naruto's voice was so obvious, people in the village looked over to see what the hero was so excited about. Hinata did not pick up the excitement, because she was too busy being nervous. If you want. Sure. I always want ramen if I can get it. Naruto wrapped his arm around Hinata out of friendship, for being such a good friend, and wanting to lead her to the ramen shop. Hinata took in another way, saying they had a bag with her things in it so she could stay the night at his house. Plus, they were engaged. Hinata felt her legs starting to weaken, and felt as though she were going to pass out. Feeling sick about always doing this, and wanting to break the cliché of her life, she moved away from Naruto, and needed to change the subject so he wouldn't ask why she moved. The best thing she could come up with made her kick herself again after she said it. Why don't we drop my stuff off at your place? Wanting to kick herself, she didn't see Naruto's expression change to shock. Hinata was too busy fidgeting to notice Naruto had started to sweat, remembering he had never bothered to clean his place. If he would have known Hinata would be staying the night, he would have made an honest attempt to clean up. Quickly making a hand seal, he created 4 shadow clones, and the group dashed off as fast as they could. Hinata snapped out of her thoughts when she saw Naruto run away, but then saw there were 4, and the real one was standing by her still. Let's take our time, okay? Hinata nodded in slight confusion, but went along with him anyway. In the Hokage's office. Tsunade was relaxing in her office when she heard the noise of 2 people rushing up the stairs to her office, fighting with each other the whole way up. The only reason she knew what it sounded like is because 2 of the village's kunoichi frequently entered her office, without knocking, fighting the whole way to her office. Tsunade had time to take a large drink from her bottle, and make her desk look nice before the rivals would burst into the room. Screaming and smacking at each other, Karen and Ino entered the office, and rushed the desk. Tsunade sat with perfect posture and a perfect amount of restraint from yelling at them. Sooner or later they would ask Tsunade who was right. Both were usually wrong. Lady Hokage, I would like to see the list of people Naruto accepted, because I wish to congratulate them. Ino yelled. Liar! Most honorable Lady Hokage, I would like to see the list so I may congratulate my soon-to-be new rivals. Karen yelled at Ino, then calmly said to Tsunade. Sometimes, the two really came up with weird things. Tsunade was supposed to give them a list of the other girls, just to make sure they could meet them and attempt to get off on the right foot. Tsunade decided to just have some fun with them before handing out a part of their future to them. Sorry girls, but you have to be a part of the planned wives in order to actually see the lists before the wedding. Tsunade sighed. Though they were on the list, she wanted to see how mad they would get if they thought they had been rejected. That bastard! Karen yelled. I mean, I can understand why he wouldn't pick Ino, but me? I have been close to him ever since the end of the war. I helped him get over his war-created depression. You can understand why he wouldn't pick me? I helped him deal with his sadness over the imprisonment of his best friend. Ino yelled back at her friend. Girls, Tsunade said, trying to get their attention. Well, I would at least be a better lover in bed, Karen yelled back. I would eat ramen every day for him, Ino hollered. I would do that, and wear orange for him. I would do all that, and give him more kids than you ever could. I would give him 20 kids. I would rebuild his clan by myself. Girls, Tsunade yelled. Karen and Ino instantly jumped in shock, seeing Tsunade, standing now, holding 2 scrolls for them. The 2 blushed, and took them without meeting Tsunade's glare. Opening them, the 2 looked at the list of girls, and saw their names were on it. Instantly screaming with happiness and hugging each other, Tsunade sighed, and sat down. Amidst their happiness, they heard a soft knocking at the door. Tsunade glared at the 2, wishing they would knock, and called to the person to enter. As the door opened, the 3 in the room saw it was Temari. Tsunade smiled, and waved her to come in. She looked at the 3 with slight confusion, and entered the room. Walking to the desk, past Ino and Karen, she looked to Tsunade. You asked for me to come here? Yeah. I wanted to give you this. It's a list of the other girls who are also going to be wives of Naruto. Saying you were the first to actually be accepted, I wanted to give yours first, out of respect. These 2 decided to come first, though. Temari looked at the 2, and smiled at them. Karen and Ino looked suspiciously at Temari, and looked back at each other, giving Temari a feeling of concern for her safety. The 2 began to whisper with each other, seemed to argue in whispers, and finally went back to normal whispers. The 2 suddenly faced her, smiling, and spoke. Good news. We have decided we don't mind sharing Naruto with you, Karen said. Considering I had first dibs on Naruto, I'm not too concerned with that. You what? Ino yelled. You didn't hear what Tsunade just said? I was the first person accepted. Even right now, I think he is on a date with Hinata, Temari stated. She didn't want to start it off with them thinking she was a bitch, but they started it. Karen shook off the shock, and went on. Well, I hope you accept us in this group then, as it will make things easier, but I wanted to ask if you would join Ino and I on a mission to meet whoever is on this list, as long as they are in the village. Sure. Got nothing else to do, and it would give us a chance to get to know each other. Maybe we should just form a group, and hang out. Sounds like a good idea, Karen said, and opened the scroll. Let's see, there is you Hinata me Ino wait Hanabi? Ino and Karen quickly looked at Tsunade, who simply stared at them. Temari looked confused between them, and finally had to ask what was wrong. Do you guys not like her or something? Temari asked. Ino and Karen quickly turned to her, and realized she didn't know a lot of people in the village. She is 12. She is Hinata's younger sister, Ino yelled. Temari instantly looked at Tsunade like she was a sick person. Tsunade began to laugh at the looks she was getting. Hayashi demanded she be part of it to escape a new law. I assure you that I didn't want her in it, and Hayashi fought to get her in it. She actually seems to have a bit of a crush on Naruto, and I doubt he is going to do anything with her sexually until she is older. Tsunade explained. The 3 had nothing to add to the complaint, saying the argument made sense, and saying they would be married to Naruto as well, they could keep an eye on him. Alright, let's go, Ino said happily. She didn't think at first being engaged to Naruto would have made her this happy, but she felt bubbly now, and didn't want to lose the feeling. Yeah, Karen said nonchalantly, trying to hide her own excitement. As the duo turned to leave, Temari followed. Waving over her back to the Hokage, Tsunade smiled. Even though she was sure this was going to cause problems, she didn't care. They were happy. At Naruto's apartment. The clones had finally finished cleaning the apartment to the best of their ability by the time Naruto and Hinata arrived at the apartment. Though it was still dusty, and it smelt of bad food, Hinata didn't seem to care. She went into the apartment nervously, and sat at a chair. As she looked around, Naruto took the vibe she was radiating as shock the place sucked. I'm sorry it's not the dream apartment, but it leave me with a lot of extra money I have been saving up since my first mission. I do plan on having a house by the time we're married, but this is what I have right now. That's not it I mean, it does smell, and it is dusty, but it is your home. I never thought that I would be here or be spending the night. Naruto understood what it was she was feeling, but he didn't feel like he had been around her enough to really recognize it. He took in the moment, and decided to move on. So, you want the bed tonight? No. I couldn't. It's your bed. But Naruto murmured, looking around the room. It was a bathroom, and a bedroom. There was no couch. The floor was not comfy, and it got really cold at night. I can sleep on the floor, there isn't any other place to sleep really, and the floor gets cold. Your dad would kill me if I brought you home in anything but perfect condition. Naruto Hinata whispered, feeling color brighten up her face as she had the obvious idea. She felt really scared to say it, but it had to be said. We will be married, we could share the BB bed. Naruto felt like an idiot for not thinking of it first, and making her say something she was obviously too nervous to say without feeling weird. Slapping his forehead, he laughed. Duh, Naruto. Of course. We should sleep together, Naruto said as he grinned. We could keep each other warm. Hinata's face reddened again. The way he said it made her think perverted thoughts. Though she didn't have a vast knowledge of sex, she knew enough about it from overhearing people talking, seeing accidental pictures, and her good old imagination. Though she hated thinking of things like that at such bad times, being around Naruto brought out the worst of her in the best of ways. Hinata fought to keep her mind off of it, but it made her feel like she would pass out. Not wanting to pass out after only 10 minutes of being in his home, she quickly pushed the thoughts out of her mind. Naruto looked at her with a confused look on his face, and got close to her face, and she felt his breath on her cheeks, making her feel like she would pass out again. Everything alright, Hina? Oh God, she thought, he just used a pet name for me. I think I am going to pass out. The thoughts earlier, him being too close now, and pet names? I'm gonna. As she was about to pass out, Naruto quickly remembered why they were there. Oh yeah? Your stuff! Naruto yelled, and quickly rushed her things into his room, throwing them on the bed. Coming back out, Hinata had her hand on her chest, and was taking deep breaths. Internally, she was thinking of how long, fun, and almost magical this day was going to be. With the future wives. Ino and Karen walked ahead of Temari by a few paces. Not because they were trying to keep her out, but because she wanted to think to herself. She liked them, that wasn't the problem. They seemed to argue a lot, and that worried her a lot. Everything alright back there? Karen called. Temari snapped out of her thoughts, and looked up to see Karen and Ino looking at her with confused looks on their faces. Temari blushed in embarrassment, and nodded. Yet just thinking, Temari stated. What about? Karen asked. Tell us. Ino insisted, in a happy way. Well, I'm worried. You two seem to fight a lot. I just don't want it to cause problems later, that's what I'm worried about, Temari said, feeling like she may have just insulted them. The two began laughing before she could say anything else. Temari looked confused, and the two put their arms around her for support. You don't have to worry about that. We're basically sisters. We argue all the time because it's just what we do. We don't do it because we want to be mean or anything. We do it because we love each other. We both have laughs about it later, and we are aware we are a bit silly in our arguments, Karen reassured. Temari still seemed a little tense. Hang out with us for a while and you will understand. Ino included. Temari nodded, and continued on. So who are we getting first? Temari asked. Karen and Ino grabbed their scrolls, and looked through. Each seemed to find their own choice, and instantly called out a name. Hanabi! Ino yelled. Run! Karen yelled. The two girls looked at each other, and Temari could tell the sparks were going to fly as the two were about to clash. Rin is from another village, and it would be a good welcome. The scroll says she may be in the village. It's not for sure. If we get Hanabi now, we can set ground rules. She is young, and needs to know it. What do you think? The both of them asked, quickly turning toward Temari. Temari jumped slightly in surprise, and looked away for a moment. Well, maybe we should go get Hanabi first, saying we know she is in the village, Temari answered. Ino jumped with joy as Karen lowered her head and sighed. You win this time, Ino, Karen said, laughing. Ino smiled, and nodded. The two laughed and hugged. Temari could hardly believe it. Then again, until not long ago, Temari never had any loving people in her life. Gaara had just started to really show that he cared, and Kankuro had always been withdrawn. Maybe this marriage thing would give her what she missed in life. They could be her sisters through marriage, she would just have to try to get along with them for now until she got closer to them. Temari looks sad, Ino shouted. Temari looked up to see Ino pointing at her. Karen looked over, and the two rushed her. What's wrong? Karen asked as they got to her. It's nice to see that you guys get along so well. I never had that kind of relationship with anyone, Temari said. After saying it, she kicked herself. It sounded weak, and she hated sounding weak. You're going to have sisters soon. We will all eventually be close. Ino smiled. Wait, we're going to be sisters? I wondered if it was going to be that, or wives. I really didn't want to be married to you, Karen said and stuck her tongue out. Don't worry, Ino said, reaching up and pinching Karen's tongue hard. I feel the same way. Temari smiled at the two messing around again, and wanted to join in. She knew she would just make it awkward, or feel awkward, so she decided to wait. With Naruto and Hinata. Naruto and Hinata were out of his apartment, and were on their way to eat. As they walked through the village, Hinata kept getting the feeling they were being watched. Though she looked around, she could never find anyone looking directly at them, nor could she see anyone on the rooftops. As she continued to get the feeling of being watched, she decided to use her Byakugan to look for anyone who could have been watching them. Atop one of the buildings to her left, there was someone who was following them. And Naruto, there is someone following us, she murmured. Naruto looked at her and smiled. It's okay, Hinata. It's just Yugo. As soon as Naruto finished saying his name, the man himself appeared in front of them in a kneeling position. It had freaked Hinata out how fast he had moved, yet it didn't seem to bother Naruto at all, who seemed happy to see him. Yugo looked up from his respectful kneeling position and stared at Naruto. You called Naruto? He asked. No, you were just scaring Hinata. I know you feel like you have to follow me, but at least put a little more distance between us, Naruto answered. Yugo thought for a moment and nodded. If it would please you. After Naruto brought Sasuke back to the village, the others from Sasuke's group had went their separate ways, all moving on with their lives. While Suigetsu went back to the Mist Village to realize his dream of bringing the Seven Swordsmen back, Yugo had never had dreams. He always felt like he was a danger to everyone around him, and Sasuke was the only one who used to be able to control him. After Naruto had beaten Sasuke, Yugo decided that Naruto was more fit for his controller, and went with Naruto to the Leaf Village. Though Yugo's curse marks were sealed, they were still able to act up if Yugo got angry enough. Thank you, Yugo. As Yugo disappeared, Naruto turned to Hinata and smiled. Is that better? Yes, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't mention it before when I went out with Temari a couple days ago. She didn't mind Yugo at all. I guess I really should introduce him to all of you first, huh? It did bother Hinata that Naruto would bring up one of the other girls while they were out, but she knew there was no helping it. Soon, Naruto would be married to 8 women, and there was nothing she could do but be happy she was one of them. The fact that almost everyone in the marriage was someone she knew, and the ones she didn't know all knew about her long-time crush on Naruto. It's funny, actually, Naruto continued. At first, Temari actually thought that Yugo was you. She yelled out the window for you to join us, but when Yugo appeared, she almost fell. It made Hinata very happy to know that Temari had been willing to let her join them, and sad that she hadn't been around to actually do so. Hinata didn't know a lot about Temari, but it did seem like Temari was willing to get along with her. So what do you want to do after we eat? Hinata asked, looking back at the ground. Well, we could, I don't know, shop? Hinata laughed to herself. Naruto had a very limited amount of knowledge on what women liked, and it showed. Maybe it would be easier to do something he knew and liked. We could spar. That's a great idea, Hinata. But do you want to do that? Sure. It's easier than having to think of anything else. Alright. Then let's get some food so we have energy to train. The two went on their way, and made it to Naruto's favorite ramen place quickly. Ichiraku Ramen was busy at the moment, yet the moment that someone saw Naruto approach, they quickly stood. Future Hokage. Take my seat, he said excitedly. Naruto looked surprised at first, and shook his head. I can wait. You go ahead and finish your food. Besides, I have a date. One spot wouldn't be enough. All right, the man said, and went back to eating, though he seemed to be rushing now. It wasn't long before the two had seats, and were seated to eat. They ordered, and began to talk as they ate. At the Hyuga compound. 3 of Naruto's future wives waited outside the large gate for the 4th addition to their group. When they walked up, they had been greeted instantly by somebody. After Karen told them why they were there, the woman on the other side of the gate seemed to know who they were almost instantly. "Of course, I'll go get Hanabi," the woman said, who seemed to know what they wanted. The woman had left, and that left them at their current state of waiting outside of the Hyuga home. "What exactly are we going to do once she gets out here?" Temari asked, looking around. "We are going to chat for a bit, tell her we are going to watch her back, and ask if she would like to join our hangout group," Karen explained. "I find it so weird she is in this, almost like Naruto is being a legalized pedophile," Ino stated. "You heard Lady Tsunade. There is a good reason she is in this. Tsunade wouldn't have allowed Naruto to accept Hanabi if there wasn't a good reason," Temari said. "I know, but I still feel weird about it," Ino responded. "Think about it like this, I mean, she may be a wife, but she will kinda be like a little sister. I know you have always wanted one, Ino. Have you, Temari?" Karen asked. "Actually, yeah. My brothers used to be really weird. They are not weird now, but I always used to wish one of them had been a sister I could have actually bonded with," Temari explained. As the women talked, they failed to notice Hanabi approaching the gate. She couldn't hear the start of their conversation, but she did hear the sister part. Hanabi hadn't expected to hear them talking about that sort of thing. "Hey guys," Hanabi said as she approached the gate. She was happy to have overheard the conversation they had, but she didn't want to show it. She didn't want to seem like an eavesdropper. "Hi, Hanabi," the 3 said, turning to her instantly. Hanabi exited the gate and closed it behind her. "What are you guys up to?" Hanabi asked, looking at the 3. She had seen Ino with Hinata a few times. Karen was someone who had become quite popular in the village ever since she had joined them, saying she was originally part of Orochimaru's group. Temari was a little less known to Hanabi. She knew she was part of the political group between the Sand Village and the Leaf, but beyond that, she was a mystery. Though she should have, Hanabi didn't feel nervous about being around older people. Hanabi was always confident, and hardly ever nervous. She was strong, so she hardly ever felt scared. "We're getting some of the girls together who will be marrying Naruto so we can all get to know each other. You want to join us?" Ino asked. Hanabi had nothing better to do, so she shrugged and nodded. "Sure. Why not?" Hanabi answered. "Real quick, before we go, I wanted to talk to you about something," Karen said, and waved Hanabi to sit on a nearby bench. Ino went with, and Temari leaned up against the wall, not wanting to butt into something she had no opinion about. To Temari, Hanabi was young. Yet she also seemed strong, smart, and very mature for her age. She almost seemed like her mind was older than her body. Either way, it didn't bother her that Hanabi was going to be one of Naruto's wives. There were some good reasons why she was going to be, and that was that. "What's up?" Hanabi asked, looking at Ino and Karen as they sat to either side of her. "Well, I know you are going to be a wife to Naruto, along with us," Karen said, sounding a little too happy about the fact, "but I just wanted to make sure you knew that we have your back in this. But beyond that, we want you to know that if you don't feel comfortable with anything, you can tell us. If Naruto wants you to do something you don't want to, then don't do." "So you guys think I'm too young to make decisions on my own?" Hanabi said, sighing. "Am I right?" "Well, you are 12 and a half, and we don't think it would be appropriate for someone your age to be partaking in adult things. I don't mean to insult you, but it's just you are young," Ino said. Hanabi didn't seem to be losing her cool, which seemed to make Karen and Ino waver in their determination. "I know where you are coming from, but at the same time, I am a ninja. I can go out on missions that could potentially kill me, so why can't I enjoy things I may never otherwise be able to experience?" Hanabi asked. Karen and Ino both looked away from her for a moment. They both seemed to be questioning why they even started this. Hanabi obviously was able to calmly talk her way around a situation. "Can we just drop this and see if other people are around?" Temari asked. "Thank you, Temari," Hanabi said, stood up, and walked over by her. Ino and Karen looked at each other, sighed while nodding, and stood up. At the training field. After Naruto and Hinata finished eating, they had made their way to the training ground. The nice stroll seemed to help them digest their food, making Naruto feel more comfortable than he did after eating 6 bowls of ramen. Hinata didn't eat much, and was just happy to be walking next to Naruto. Ahead of them, the training field was coming into view quickly. "So spar until we are tired?" "Until I am tired, I'm sure I will be tired long before you are." "All right. Until you are tired." The two got to either side of the training ground. As the two stared at each other in preparation for a fight, they got into their battle stances. Hinata rushed at Naruto, but Naruto had a sudden thought. He didn't want to be the kind of person who beat his wives. Even if it was sparing, he didn't want to be like that. Sure, before then he had fought with girls before. But he never thought about it like this. Did it count as domestic violence? Did it count as actually hitting them? As Hinata got in close, Naruto decided to ask later and fight a different way. Hinata swung a gentle fist at Naruto's face, who ducked down quickly. As he dodged her attack, SH raised his hand up and poked her side, tickling her. Hinata, at first, tensed up because she thought she was going to be punched. Then, something tickled her side, and she felt confused at first. Then, she fell on Naruto because the tickling didn't stop. As Hinata looked to see why she was being tickled, she saw Naruto tickling her sides. Instantly laughing, she tried to shove him away playfully, only to be switched to lying on the ground under him, and being pinned as he tickled her. As he tickled her, he realized he felt weird being on top of her. He stopped tickling her, and stayed on top of her, blushing slightly. Hinata saw him blushing, and suddenly realized what was going on. A deep red blush spread across her face, and she froze. This had always been a fantasy of hers, being pinned under Naruto. Though she wished it had happened in a more private location, and with more of a romantic feel. Naruto quickly got off of her, which did ease the tension, but seemed to make her sad. She sat up, and the two were quiet for a moment. "Why didn't you attack?" Hinata asked. "I didn't know if it would have been okay. I have sparred with you before, but we were never engaged at the time. I don't want to be an abusive husband to any of my wives. I wasn't sure if it would be counted as abusive or not." "Oh, I understand, but we are ninja. We have to fight to keep our skills honed, don't you agree?" "Yeah, I guess it seems silly now." "Not really. I'm happy you thought of it. It makes me feel more safe around you than ever, though I never thought you were capable of being abusive anyway. You are too nice to be like that." "Thanks." Some time went on as the two sat in complete silence, not knowing what to say next. Hinata herself had wanted to ask him something all day, and decided now was the perfect time. She sat there for a moment, trying to build the courage to ask, yet she was afraid of the answer. As the silence went on, she finally got the courage up. "And Naruto, why you never?" she started, finding what she wanted to say more and more difficult. She took a deep breath, and decided to say it quickly to get it over with. "Why did you never talk to me about my love confession after pain invaded?" Naruto looked shocked at first. To tell the truth, it was all such a rush at the moment, he had forgotten about it. A lot of things had happened around then. He had gotten the fox under control, beat his toughest opponent at the time, and found out who his father was. In truth, he now felt anger with himself over forgetting about it. It didn't seem like something that should have been forgotten, and felt bad that he had made Hinata wait so long for an answer. "Hinata, I forgot all about it. A lot happened around that time, and I really wish I had remembered. You were the first person to ever really say you love me. I'm sorry I never remembered it. It was really important to you, and I feel like I can never really make it up to you." "Naruto, in truth you already have. We are going to be married soon. While it won't be a usual marriage, it will still be us being married that. And this day has just been really good so far. I never thought I would actually be going out with you." "Hinata, it's okay. Can we just keep having a good day?" "Yeah." With the wives. Temari, Ino, Karen, and Hanabi had walked around the village, and managed to gather Ren and Samui. The six of them sat inside the dango shop, and all started to get to know each other. Ren was quiet out of nervousness, and Samui was quiet because she felt she didn't need to talk unless it was of importance. "Now that we are all here, we can finally get to know each other. I wish Kuratsuchi could have been here with us, but no such luck," Ino said, starting the conversation. "She won't be here until she has to be. I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but people from that village don't really like the Leaf Village. They never have. I expect a lot of difficulty in this marriage because of Kuratsuchi," Samui said as she began eating. "Also, why is there a child here? Don't tell me she is in this, too." Temari was about to answer, but Hanabi raised her hand up. Everyone looked at her. "I will answer this. My father wanted me in this because unless I was part of this marriage, I would have to receive a clan seal that would make me lower class in the clan's eyes. My father didn't want that kind of life for me, so he included me in the political marriage contract. I know I may seem to have the body of a child, but I have been trained to the point where I am already a chunin," Hanabi said, seeming to surprise Rin, yet Samui was left unmoved by her words. "There are things involved in marriage, Miss Mature Girl, that I don't think you are ready for. Do you even know what sex is? Have you even had your first period yet? I doubt you have started shaving yet, and I really doubt you understand the things involved in this marriage," Samui argued. Though her words seemed harsh, her tone was calm and almost protective. To answer all of your questions, and remind me if I miss any of them, I do know what sex is, and how to have sex. I have had my first period, and second one by the way. I don't have to shave, as I'm not old, and I understand a lot of the rules in this marriage. I know of some probably no one else really knows about. For instance, did anybody realize that after 1 year, we will be expected to bear a child? Karen, Ino, and Ren instantly looked at Hanabi with a look of surprise. Temari and Samui both knew of this, and Samui waited for Hanabi to list off some of the other rules to show her true knowledge of the subjects. Also, does anybody know, saying we are technically saving 2 clans here, some of us will be taking the Namikaze name, and some will be taking the Uzumaki name? I see you actually do have some knowledge about this. I'm impressed, Hanabi. I do plan on leaving you alone at this point, but you are still young. I will show you respect, but be aware I will be watching over you, Samui stated. Do what you want, but I will act as though you are not, Hanabi said. The two of them looked at each other for a moment, and seemed to reach an unspoken understanding, both nodding to each other. Wait, you mean within a year of our marriage, we are expected to be baby makers? Ino said. Is that a problem? I thought you said you were willing to give Naruto a lot of children, Karen mentioned. Ino quickly glared at Karen. It's not a problem, I would just rather choose the time, rather than be told when to have kids. Oh, bitch. Just be happy you are included with this. Why you? Ladies, fighting isn't necessary, Samui butted in. They do this for fun. It's not healthy, but they are as close as sisters, Temari said as she ate. I see, Samui whispered, looking at the two as they started to argue again. Do you think Kuratsuchi is really going to be a problem? Ren asked. I do. She will probably insist that she won't be touched by Naruto until the absolute last moment she can avoid it. I respect Naruto, as he is very powerful. I know he is caring, because he went out of his way to save me from Madara. I was trapped in a sealed jar for days, yet he saved me, and even carried me back to my village. Even though my team beat him mercilessly, he still forgave them. That's how I know he is caring, and that is how I know I can fall in love with him eventually, Samui explained. He saved me from a wave of white setsus and a few revived people from some jutsu that brought people back to life. I could have been killed if he didn't find me alive, and bring me back to Med Ninja. I owe my life to him, and I figured giving myself to him was the best way, Ren stated. He saved my family from destroying itself, Temari said. He brought me back to this village, and really saved my life by giving me a real life. I used to follow a madman, and never realized it was a problem until I actually got here. I could have only done worse, Karen included. He never saved my life, he has just always been nice to me. No matter how rotten I was to him, I like his tenacity. And no, he is a great man, Ino stated. He never saved my life either. All I can say is that he unintentionally gave me my first aid. I envy you all for having such good reasons for liking him, Hanabi said. My sister has always loved him though. Since she was young, she seemed to only have eyes for him. I'm really happy that she actually has him now. She has? Temari asked. I feel really bad for taking his virginity then. Everyone instantly looked at Temari with wide eyes. Some of them seemed to show anger, mainly Karen and Ino, and the others showed curiosity. Temari didn't feel awkward from the stares, though she really did feel bad about stealing Naruto away from Hinata. Just so we know what we are dealing with, how big was he? Hanabi asked. Others looked quickly at Hanabi with a look of terror, and looked at Temari. Temari herself didn't seem to care. Hanabi asked. I would say 8 inches. 8.5. I'm bad with this, so you will just have to wait to see for yourself. Was he good? Karen asked. Not really, but he was inexperienced. I was too, of course, but that will all change as time goes on. The others seemed to be digesting the information. Samui herself was smirking slightly, almost perversely. Ren was blushing, yet seemed to be thinking intently about it. Karen and Ino seemed to share the same lusty look on their faces, staring into space. Hanabi looked like she was trying to solve a math equation more than thinking about Naruto, but then again, maybe she didn't blush easily. Our little Hanabi here will have to grow some more before she is ready for that, Samui said, smirking. Hanabi looked at her like it was a sort of challenge. I'm not worried. I know big sister Samui will be there to hold my hand if I need her, Hanabi said, seeming to throw a raunchy tone in it, making the others cringe a little. Samui looked at Hanabi with an unwavering look. For someone so young, that was a good joke, Samui said, and smiled. She understood the humor, and wasn't willing to take as the jab it almost seemed to be. Samui saw the others look in a slight amount of horror, and started to laugh, causing the rest of them to start to laugh. The women sat and continued to talk the rest of the day. Later, at Naruto's apartment, Hinata walked out of Naruto's bathroom. After the long day of walking around the village, she felt disgusting and had needed a shower to wash off. Naruto had kept his promise, and the both of them had a fun day, walking around the village together. They had went to shops together, and shopped a lot. "Hey, Hinata," Naruto said, as he saw her leave the bathroom. Naruto instantly froze up. Hinata was wrapped in only a towel, with her hair dripping wet. A blush was spread across his face, and she already had a blush across her face. "I forgot my clothes bag out here." "I'm sorry," Hinata said quickly, moving to the bed to grab the bag. As she reached for it, her towel loosened and fell from her. Hinata had enough time to eat as Naruto tried to grab the towel as it fell. So what is your plan for tea tomorrow?" Hinata asked. "Your dad wants to talk to me. I figure he wants me to take Hanabi out to get to know her." Please don't do what we just did with her tomorrow." "Don't worry. I won't." Naruto woke up in the best way he could have imagined at first. Naruto opened his eyes, yawned, and looked to the sleeping beauty laying right next to him. The aroma of food cooking filled his nostrils, making his stomach start to grumble. At first, Naruto just wanted to look at the naked Hinata lying next to him. Then everything hit him. There was someone else in his apartment. Naruto's eyes grew wide as he realized what was wrong. Someone got into his apartment somehow, and started cooking. Naruto shook his head as he realized how strange of an occurrence this was. Who just sneaks into someone's place to cook? Naruto was just about to get up, when suddenly the person walked into the room. In the doorway was Temari, carrying 2 trays with food on them. Temari smiled, seeing that Naruto was awake, and quickly spoke. "Morning, Naruto. I made you 2 some food." "Temari," Naruto said, freaking out. "This isn't what it looks like." "What do you mean?" "She is going to be your wife too, so there is no problem with this." When the look of terror flashed off of Naruto's face, Temari had to fight back a laugh, if only to let Hinata get a moment more of sleep. Temari had fought back the urge to laugh, and instantly felt the need to speak more, adding, "Listen. Even if I get jealous about this, there is no reason. While the marriage is going to be unusual, there will be other women that you will have to sleep with at one point or another. I just have to live with it, because it is now a part of my life. Beyond that, Karen and Ino kinda taught me what sisterly love is like. Even though their brand of it is strange, I still am happy that I can someday have a chance of a bond like that. So I can live with this. Don't worry." "Well, that's good, but Temari?" "Yeah? How did you get into my apartment?" Temari instantly realized how weird the whole situation seemed, and quickly began to try and tell her side of the story. "Well, I wanted to do something nice for you too, so Yugo told me where you guys were at, and let me into your place. I really felt weird at the time, and I do now. I really hope this isn't going too far." "No. It's a great idea. Thanks, Temari." Naruto started to shake Hinata as he talked. "Hinata! Wake up. Temari made us breakfast." Hinata slowly stirred, and opened her eyes slowly. Looking and seeing Temari as she sat the trays down, Hinata slowly sat up, forgetting that she was wearing nothing under the blanket. The instant she sat up, Naruto blushed heavily, seeming to be unable to take his eyes off her chest, while Temari simply grinned. "Looks like you two had a fun night." Hinata looked to Temari with a confused look on her face, then spotted Naruto who was staring at her chest, so she followed his gaze. Looking down, she now noticed that she was wearing nothing herself, and quickly pulled the covers up to cover herself. Naruto blushed a deeper shade of red for being seen staring, and Temari smiled. Hinata blushed to herself for letting Temari see her partially naked. "You two eat up. After you're done, I know Naruto has another date. Hinata, why don't you come hang out with me and the other future wives?" "Oh, okay, that sounds nice," Hinata murmured, blushing still as she held the sheets tightly to her body. Temari smiled, and walked over to her side of the bed. Hinata looked up sheepishly before Temari lightly pulled the sheets away from Hinata. Hinata made an eep noise before Temari bent over, and lightly kissed Hinata on the lips. Both Naruto and Hinata's eyes sprang wide open in shock. Temari ended the kiss, and started her way out of the room. "Oh, and Naruto," Temari started, making Naruto snap out of his shocked look, and turn quickly toward Temari. "After getting a good look at her, I forgive you for talking about your date with her so much during our last date." Temari left the room, and left the apartment. Hinata still looked shocked, so Naruto shook her lightly so she would snap out of it. Oh, 1, did she just kiss me? And 2, what did she say about your date with her? Hinata asked, still pretty red in the face. Okay, well, 1 yeah? I think she did, and 2, well, Naruto started, and blushed a bit. I was excited about going on a date with you. I guess I talked a little too much about it. Hinata forgot about the kiss thing as she heard Naruto explain he was excited about his date with her. She instantly blushed even more, and felt as though she were going to faint. Deciding that using up some of the built-up emotional energy would fix things, she pounced Naruto, hugging him as tightly as she could. Hinata looked up at Naruto, who had a look of surprise, and kissed him on the lips with such intensity. His lips hurt slightly. When she broke the kiss, she looked happily in Naruto's eyes. See, come on, let's eat, honey, Naruto said nervously. Hinata felt her heart flutter, and she sat close to him as he grabbed the trays of food. Together, the two ate, and nervously got dressed, stealing a peek at one another every other second. Naruto and Hinata soon walked out of the apartment, and saw Temari standing outside, waiting for them. Naruto and Hinata both looked surprised to see her. Temari looked over, saw their surprise, and smiled. Were you standing out here the whole time? Naruto asked quickly. No. I actually talked with Yugo for a few minutes. I asked him to please get the others, and tell them to meet me at Ichiraku Ramen. He told me he was happy to help any wife of Naruto, and left. Now that you guys are out, I'll walk with you, if that's okay. As sure, Hinata answered. Temari smiled, and wrapped one arm in Naruto's, and motioned for Hinata to do the same. We don't want him recruiting any other wives, so we better keep a tight hold on him, Temari said to Hinata. Hinata smiled, nodded, and took Naruto's other arm. The three walked down the street toward Hinata's home, both so she could drop off her things, and so Naruto could get Hanabi. At the Hyuga mansion. As the three walked up to the clan home, they noticed Hayashi standing outside, looking aggravated. As they walked closer, Naruto finally noticed Hayashi's aggravation. Figuring he was going to take it out on him, or it was his fault, Naruto began to drag his heels severely. Come on, Naruto! What's wrong with you? Temari yelled, pulling him as hard as she could at this point. Hinata was right next to her, also pulling as hard as she could. Naruto was apparently stronger than the two of them. Naruto, what's wrong? Hinata grunted as she struggled to pull him. Your father looks pissed, Naruto whimpered. Hinata turned her head, and saw him. He did indeed look pissed. The tug of war eventually turned into Temari trying her hardest to pull the two toward the mansion, but she found that she was moving nowhere. Feeling ridiculous, Temari was just about to give up pulling the two when Hayashi suddenly yelled out to them. Naruto! Hinata! Miss Temari! Please stop messing around! Hayashi growled. They all jumped in their spots, and ran over as fast as possible. All three stood at attention. Hayashi smiled internally as he saw the humor in his situation. The one shinobi in the village that could probably destroy him with a single jutsu was too polite, and acted as though Hayashi were a god. He felt slightly calmer, but he was still aggravated. I'm sorry we are so late. I woke up late, then Temari stopped by and made us breakfast, then we talked for a few. I know we should have been here sooner. I'm so sorry. Naruto yelled quickly, and nervously. Hayashi sighed, now knowing he had led them to a false conclusion. No, that's not what I am angry about. And thank you, Miss Temari, for accepting Hinata. I know you two are both in a weird situation, and it means a lot to hear that you two might get along. It makes me wonder if I should consider Naruto's other wives sisters to Hinata. Maybe I should wait to see how they get along with her first, Hayashi mumbled. Realizing he was off track, he got on with what he had to say. Anyway, Hanabi is away on a mission. It came in this morning, and the team needed her. I do apologize, Naruto. No, it's okay. I can take her out another time, Naruto said, not all too concerned. He did have to wonder now, though, who was he going out with? You could just take us out, Naruto, Temari said, holding his hand. Hinata and I would like that. Hayashi smiled, thinking at first she was going to keep Naruto for herself, but including Hinata made him gain respect for her. He would defiantly be treating her like a daughter. Wait! A voice yelled a small way away. They turned, and saw Ino and Karen running toward them. Temari sighed, and Naruto and Hinata simply looked curiously. Hayashi sighed, and looked at the three that were already there. Well, I'm going inside. Hinata, come in if things change, and Temari may join you if she so wishes. Hayashi left as Karen and Ino got there. Naruto smiled as they got there, and started talking. Hey guys, what's up? We just heard Hanabi isn't in the village. You have already went out with both of them, so you have to go out with somebody else. Ino yelled. Says who? Temari retorted. Before the two could start fighting, Naruto chimed in. I agree, he said, surprising all four women. Think about it, Temari. It's better that I know and date them all so the wedding can happen sooner. Temari though for a moment, and nodded in agreement. She hated getting pushed around and told something like Ino just did, feeling their relationship strain, but luckily, Naruto saved them from having a real issue. Do you want to come inside for a bit before we head to the meetup? Hinata asked Temari. Sure. Got nothing else to do for a bit. As the two girls walked into the Hyuga mansion, Naruto looked to the two girls in front of him. So which one of you am I taking out today? Me, Ino instantly said. Karen looked at her quickly with a look of anger on her face. No, you're taking me out today, Karen insisted, walking over to Naruto and grabbing his hand. No, he is taking me out, Ino shouted in response, and grabbed Naruto's arm. The two girls looked aggravated, and looked as though they were about to fight. The two then snapped their heads toward Naruto. Which are you taking out? They both yelled. Naruto began sweating bullets. He didn't want to anger either of them, and was not looking forward to either of them fighting the other over his decision. I'll leave that up to you two, Naruto said, scared and nervously. The two looked at each other with such intensity. Naruto backed up as much as he could while being held in place in fear one of their heads would explode from the intensity of the stares. Just take both of us, Karen said, looking back to Naruto as though no anger had ever existed between Ino and herself. It would be easiest, Ino included, with the exact same look on her face. Though Naruto was nervous of the idea, he had to agree it was the easiest idea. He also thought about how Ino and Karen reminded him a lot of Ino with Sakura a long time ago, though these arguments seemed to have peaceful endings. At least that one did, to his knowledge. Oh, okay, Naruto conceded. The two girls smiled happily, and both led Naruto off. Though he hoped he was done with the arguments, something told him it was going to be a fight every minute. In the Hyuga mansion. Temari walked into the Hyuga mansion with Hinata, and Temari had to stop in her tracks. The Hyuga family was known to be a powerful and rich family, but the mansion appeared to be more well-furnished than the Hokage mansion and the hotel she was staying at, the most expensive one, combined. The art that covered the walls and sculpture that stood in corners in the first 20 feet looked like they cost more than the mansion itself. Each piece came from another village, as was obvious by the tags by each piece. While she was in the middle of the hall, she felt as though she tread carefully just to make sure she would break nothing. Hinata looked back, and saw Temari acting overly careful. She then couldn't help but remember when she was young, that was the exact way she was. The thing that helped her get over it was the fact she hadn't ever come close to breaking anything. Granted, that was mostly due to the traps and barriers that protected the art. Temari, are you okay? Hinata asked, walking back toward her. Why yeah, I just have never seen this much net worth in one room, Temari gasped. And I was at the Kage summit years ago before the 4th Shinobi War. I used to do the same thing that you just did. Trust me. You won't break anything. Look at them again. Temari looked back to the art, and noticed several barrier tags, and a few razor-thin wire traps. Temari smiled, feeling more in danger now than nervous. As she sped up a bit, the two entered into the first real room in the mansion. It was an outdoor garden, with an open roof, that led to the actual house. Temari suddenly wondered how long it would actually take to see the house, rather than just the entryways. Hinata. Nice to see you joined us, Temari, a voice said. Hayashi walked out from his spot, hidden behind a tree in the garden. Hinata bowed to her father, and Temari quickly copied her. Hayashi raised a hand to cease, causing them to both stand up straight very quickly. That's not necessary. It's true that I usually have Hinata bow around when we have guests, but only to show obeisance. You, Temari, seem like you will be more than a guest. The fact you two both showed up with Naruto, with neither of you looking sour about being around each other, shows me that. I am aware that you are the first to be officiated with Naruto, but you don't seem to hold it over Hinata. No, sir. Actually, on one of our first dates, I thought Hinata was following, and shouted out that she should join us. It turned out to be Yugo, but I still thought it would have been fun. Temari explained. Hayashi looked to Hinata for confirmation, to which she nodded. Hayashi smiled, and motioned for them to follow. So, where are you staying, Temari? Hayashi asked, opening the real front door for them. At the hotel down the street. Luckily, my brother decided I should stay in the most expensive one. Nothing against the Leaf Village, but they do share one economic thing with the Sand Village. Both suffer from low-end hotels. Hayashi stopped, and looked at Temari. Temari instantly figured she had insulted him when she insulted the hotels. She was just about to sincerely apologize when Hayashi spoke. I will not allow you to stay in a hotel. You should not be charged for staying in the village when you are involved with our Hokage. Seeing as you and Hinata will have to get used to each other, I insist you move your possessions here, and stay with us. Hayashi demanded. Temari instantly fumbled with her words, surprised at the generous offer. And no. I wouldn't want to impose on both of you like that. Temari insisted. Hinata, what do you think? Hayashi asked, looking to his daughter. I think it could be fun. I've never really had a friend over, Hinata said. Excellent. Well, get your things, and move in here. You are welcome to any empty room you want. Or you could stay in Hinata's room for a while. I know girls like slumber parties, I think, Hayashi said, and walked away from the two. Temari looked at Hinata for some sort of sign of what to do. Let's go get your stuff before we have to meet up with the others, Hinata insisted, and lead her out of the mansion, promising a tour when they had Temari's stuff. With Naruto, Karen, and Ino. Naruto was being pulled down the street by both arms. One being controlled by Ino, and the other by Karen. People in the area kept glancing at Naruto as he was forcefully pulled along by the women. We gotta get something to eat first, Karen shouted, attempting to lead Naruto in one direction. No, we have to get some shopping done, Ino yelled in return. We can do both, just pick one, Naruto murmured, unhappy with his current situation. Food, Karen yelled. Shopping, Ino yelled back. As the two fought over him, Naruto entered his mind and met up with the fox. Luckily, his body would be on autopilot, as though it were a clone. What's the problem, kid? Kurama asked. Naruto looked up at him. I might go insane on this date, Naruto said as he sat down. The fox laid down and grunted. I understand. Having to listen to these two may cause me to go insane as well. You have only been out with them for all of 10 minutes, and they have fought most of it. Why don't you just take control of what you three do? That way there is no reason for them to fight. Kurama explained. I could, I guess, but what if they continue to fight? They seem to care for you enough to share you, so they might as well see your logic. There is only one way to find out, Kit. Naruto came out of his mind, and saw he was in the same situation. They were still arguing about where to go. Naruto was just about to attempt to declare what he thought they should do, when something happened. Ino was just about to yell shopping again, when her stomach growled loudly. The two of them smiled, and began to laugh loudly. You're right, Karen. Food does sound good, Ino said, and the two lead Naruto to get food. Wait, what just happened? Naruto asked suddenly, getting his confusion out in the open. The two looked at him, and smiled happily. Oh, that? You don't have to worry about that, Karen explained. We do that all the time. It's not serious or anything. We just like to disagree about little things vocally. It's not like we actually get mad at each other. Ino finished. Naruto looked at the two with a quizzical look. Wow, Ino. You always need somebody to fight with, don't you? Naruto laughed to himself. Ino smiled, lowering her head slightly. The obvious reference was about someone that no one talked to anymore. Sakura. No one had talked to her for a long time, and that was her own choice. She held a grudge against Naruto for forcing Sasuke back to the village. She held a grudge against him for allowing the village to throw him in the Leaf Village's maximum security prison. After all that happened, she refused to forgive anybody. For some reason, she had snapped beyond the ability to save. Everyone who was once her friend had eventually given up trying to save her. She had fallen, and nothing could be done. The same could be said for her reason for breaking. Sasuke was just as bad as she was. Even after talking with Itachi, even after helping stop the Impure World Resurrection Jutsu, he was lost. He had watched his last relative die a second time, and it proved to be too much for him to bear. The moment the war was over, he was captured, and brought back to the Leaf Village. After an evaluation of his mind, he was deemed too insane to walk the streets, and too powerful to put into a mental asylum. So he was thrown into the Leaf's prison, with visits from the Leaf's top psychiatrist. Nothing helped the poor Uchiha, and he was left to rot. Sorry, you guys, Karen whispered, realizing the hardship they had went through. She brought them both into a hug, holding them tightly. They both returned the hug, feeling the drain on their emotional state. Naruto and Ino were the ones most affected by the loss of both Sasuke and Sakura to insanity. Though it had been a while, it was an emotional wound that would take a long time to heal. Thanks, Karen, Naruto said, burying his face into her neck. I forget how much I miss the old days, thanks for being there, Karen, Ino said, hugging her best friend tightly. Naruto and Ino fought off tears, and Karen supported them her best, Let's skip food. I'm sure you guys are not hungry. Let's get our minds off it by heading to the shopping district. Karen insisted. Naruto and Ino both agreed, feeling like they needed to get their minds off of the past. Where do you guys want to go? I could really use some new jumpsuits, Naruto mentioned. Yeah, clothing shopping sounds nice, Ino agreed. Karen smiled at them. Okay. My treat. It's the least I can do, Karen said, giving the two a final, big hug. Ino and Karen both took one of Naruto's hands, and held tightly. Together, the three walked off to get said shopping underway. At the Future Wives gathering, Temari and Hinata walked into the meeting place for the future wives. At the table they claimed their own, sat Samui and Rin. As they walked up closer, and noticed another was sitting with them. It turned out to be none other than the Hokage, Lady Tsunade. Hello, Lady Hokage. What brings you here? Hinata asked, taking her seat, and scooting over on the booth seat for Temari. After they were seated, Tsunade decided to answer. I've come to discuss two things. One, the names you will take, and another is a little info I feel you should know. Tsunade informed. The four there looked at her, nodding. Saying there are 8 of you, 4 will become Namikes, and 4 will become Uzumaki. The ones who will become Namikes are Temari, Hanabi, Ino, and Kuratsuchi. The Uzumaki are Hinata, Karen, Samui, and Ren. Kuratsuchi is going to hate that, Samui laughed to herself. If she would have come out here like she was asked, then this would have turned out differently. However, the humor in her taking the Namike's name is too funny to pass up. I hope none of you will tell her until she arrives for good? Tsunade asked. All of the future wives nodded. All right. Now, there are some reasons for the name selection. For instance, Hinata has loved him long before she knew his other last name. Karen is going to adopt the name Uzumaki, as she is an Uzumaki. Everyone looked at her with a mix of shock and realization. Almost all of them have heard the fact that most Uzumaki have red hair, but they all seemed to assume she just had red hair, and nothing else. Beyond that, there were almost no Uzumaki anymore. People then realized how important it was that Karen and Naruto had children. They all wanted them, but Karen now seemed to carry a heavier weight on her shoulders, that she no doubt realized. Wow. So their children may have red hair as well? Temari asked. Possibly. However, Naruto got his blonde hair from his father, so there is a chance they won't. Tsunade answered. Though I have to say, the Leaf Village has always used the Uzumaki symbol on the back of our flak jackets. If they have any red-haired children, or any of you have them, they will be offered the Clan Restoration Act as well. Granted, it would have to be male children. Men are too primitive to share one woman, and a woman can only have a child about a year, unless it's twins. Roughly, of course, but a boy could have multiple wives with a chance of many offspring. Like this current situation. They all seemed to look at each other, thinking about their future children at that exact moment. They all thought if they wanted their kids to be in a somewhat similar situation. Samui really didn't care, as long as her child's spouse, or plural of such, were strong. Ren herself used her own thought process, that the child had to have earned the love of her child through heroics. Temari herself couldn't make that kind of decision, knowing full well that she wanted to experience a lot of what it was like before she would recommend it to her children. Hinata had a very similar ideal to Temari's. While they would probably discuss part of that during the day, they all silently agreed to wait for the others in order to get everybody's input, even though it would only affect their own children. I really need to get back to the mansion. I just really wanted to stop by and inform you all of what was going on, Tsunade stated as she stood. As she began to walk away, she quickly turned around. One more thing. The wedding will be 1 week after Naruto has dated all of you. After today, if my information is correct, then there will only be 4 left. It's approaching quickly. I hope you are ready. Tsunade took her leave, and the future wives sat by themselves. Today's meeting had only started, and there was already a lot on the table. The basic time of the wedding was set, they knew what names they were taking, and several things to think about. And it was barely after 12 o'clock. With Naruto, Karen, and Ino. The 3 had just finished shopping, and had employed Naruto to carry their bags. As they walked ahead, leading him to the place they were going to eat, he was trying to look through the bags that they had given him to carry. The only reason he was so curious was because they had apparently gotten him something, and he wanted to know what. He hadn't seen the item, but at one point or another Ino or Karen had vanished. All he could see in the bags he could look at were shirts and pants for Karen and Ino. One bag contained 3 new jumpsuits for Naruto, looking exactly like the one he had on now. It was difficult to look in all the bags, as there were a whopping 10 bags at least. Naruto had regrettably not paid attention to how many. Stop looking. We will give you the gift when we get to the place we are eating. Ino said, seeing him looking at the bags as they went along. Karen looked back at him and smiled brightly. Naruto had to control himself from looking into the bags, due to the fact that one of them looked back every so often, and he knew he would be scolded for looking when told not to. While it shouldn't have been a big deal to the strongest ninja in the village, if they told him to stop, he would. He wasn't that used to having friends, so he didn't really want to aggravate anyone, even if they were future wives. As they got to the designation the women picked to eat, Naruto had the opportunity to sit the bags down and look around. He knew this place. Ichiraku Ramen! Naruto yelled in excitement. The two girls smiled happily, glad Naruto was excited that they had remembered what place he liked to eat. In all truth, it was village knowledge. This one is on me, Ino said, and sat at the seat nearest her. Naruto sat next to her, and Karen on the other side of Naruto. Tochi walked to the counter, and saw Naruto with two of his future wives. Hey Naruto! And I recognize these two. Miss Ino and Miss Karen. Welcome to my ramen stand, Tochi said, grabbing his order pad. If either of you can match Naruto in his eating habits, then I will pay for the meal. One of us can, Karen whispered. Tochi looked at the girl in slight disbelief, not thinking neither Ino nor Karen could keep up with Naruto. I doubt that. Now, what will you guys be having? Tochi asked. I'll start with 2 bowls of miso soup ramen, Naruto shouted excitedly. I guess I'll have the same, Ino said, never having eaten at the ramen stand. Me too, Karen murmured. It wasn't long till their food was brought to them. Ino looked at the 2 bowls brought to her with wide eyes, having no idea she was going to be ordering something so massive. Naruto instantly dug in, and Karen followed along with Naruto. Ino glanced at the two, wolfing down their ramen like they hadn't eaten in years. Ino attempted to follow along, but found the amount of food daunting. It wasn't that long till Naruto had finished his 2 bowls, and pushed them forward to be collected and refilled. He looked to Ino, seeing her taking her time with her first bowl. He gave her a reassuring smile, and looked over to Karen. The second he did, his eyes grew wide. She too had pushed her bowls forward to be refilled. She didn't look full at all, and seemed to be in the same shape he was. When Karen noticed him looking at her, she shyly turned away, worried he had seen her eating like a pig. You ate those already? Yeah, Karen whispered, ashamed. Sweet. Finally there is someone who can eat ramen with me. Everybody always stops so quickly, and want to leave right away, Naruto said, and hugged her in a happy expression. Karen blushed and fixed her glasses, thankful he accepted her rather than being disgusted by her ability to eat. I can't offer free ramen if you two are going to devour our entire stock, Tochi shouted. He was busy making ramen as fast as he could, with his daughter doing the same. It's okay. I will pay, Ino insisted, causing both Karen and Naruto to look at her thankfully. She had been out to eat with Karen before, so she knew what she was in for. She just guessed it would be Karen times 2. She was wrong. As the bowls continued, Ino noticed Karen was able to devour more now that she had competition, though it was more likely she felt she didn't have to hold back. Soon, Naruto and Karen were on their 8th helping apiece, 16 if you counted each bowl, rather than the order refills. Suddenly, Ino was checking her wallet to see how much she had. After doing the math, she figured she could pay for 20 order refills apiece, double if it was paid by the bowls. Ino continued on her food, hoping she could stretch it out to last as long as they would eat. After another half hour, Karen and Naruto had finished their food. They had refilled their orders 13 times, resulting in 26 bowls of ramen apiece. Ino simply sat there staring at them in horror, unaware anybody could inhale that much food in the total time of 45 minutes. Naruto and Karen both leaned forward, relaxing as they digested their food. I only have enough for 20 of each of their orders, and mine, Ino said, putting the money on the table. Tochi picked it up and put it in the register. It's alright. The rest is on us. Thanks for treating Naruto, and thanks for being a part of his life. It's nice to see people being nice to him. Believe me, I've seen my fair share of the difficulty in his life, and I'm glad he will have plenty of people to love him now. I hope to meet the rest of his future wives eventually. He is like a son to me, Tochi said, smiling to both Karen and Ino. He does deserve it. He has lived for nothing than to serve the village his whole life. Now, they are finally paying him back for that, and all the harshness in his life, Ino said, reaching over and squeezing Naruto's hand. Naruto looked to her and smiled happily. Karen did the same with the other hand. And it's nice to see you two dealing with the entire thing so well. You don't even seem to mid that the other is here, Tochi pointed out. Well, we are best friends. It will be like we're sisters with the same husband, Karen stated. All Tsuchi could do was laugh at the response. He really liked these two. He had met Hinata, met Temari, and was a little excited to meet the others. They all seemed to like him a lot, and that meant the world to Tsuchi. So what should we do now? Naruto asked. Karen and Ino looked at each other. Both shrugging, they looked to Naruto. Let's head back to your place, and give you the stuff we got you, Ino suggested. Naruto nodded in excitement, and stood up quickly. He was ready to go. Karen laid a big tip on the table, which was what she had left in her wallet, and they walked off, leaving Tsuchi smiling at the friendship and love they seemed to have with and for Naruto. With the wives. The wives sat at the meeting place, enjoying each other's company. It had been a while since Tsunade had left. They had all eaten, and discussed the day's events, and all things since they last met up. Samui had opened up to the others slightly, talking more than she had to, though not by much. They each shared their stories about Naruto, so they could all gain a better understanding of what he was like. Samui and Ren, who knew very little about Naruto, found the stories sharing very helpful. They discovered that Naruto was exactly what they had heard. Selfless to the point of self-destruction, caring enough that he would do anything, keeping every promise he ever made no matter how long, and was amazingly resilient. He had left such an impression on Temari and Hinata that it seemed as though they wanted this marriage more than Ren and Samui did. Not to say they didn't want it. Sorry, but I need a drink. I'm happy everything I have heard about Naruto was true, but this is a lot to take in, Samui said, and waved the waitress over. I'll have a glass of wine, please. You guys want anything? Beer, Temari answered. Sake, both Ren and Hinata said. In all truth, Hinata and Ren would have been fine without it, but if the other two were, and they themselves didn't mind the idea, why not? They got their drinks, and settled into talking. You know, I'm kinda jealous that you guys have such a history with Naruto. It makes me feel kinda bad. How about you, Samui? Ren asked. A little. But that's why we are here now. Time to catch up. Yeah, and we all have something that Naruto did for us. Saved your and Ren's lives. Saved my family from destroying itself. And he inspired Hinata to be more confident, and to push herself to be a better ninja. Samui stated. Yeah, but we will have our turn when we are married to Naruto, Samui. Ren stated. Oh, and by the way, sorry Hinata, but Hinata got laid. Temari chimed in, with no setup. Hinata instantly looked shocked, and swung her head in the direction of Temari. Both Ren and Samui had different looks. Samui put a slightly perverted look on her face, while Ren suddenly blushed heavily. Hinata herself was blushing heavily, while Temari defended herself by looking at Hinata, and saying, sorry. We're the wives, so gossip is all between us. It's okay. While Hinata did seem to calm down a little bit, while barely noticeable, she did calm down. Samui instantly noted something, though it was an early hypothesis. I think he has sex with whoever he is going out with at the time. Does that mean he is a super pervert? Ren instantly yelled a little too loudly. Both Temari and Hinata instantly started laughing at the notion as people around them looked at the table in shock. No, if you knew Naruto, then you would know that. Not insulting the fact that you don't know him that well, but he isn't like that. When I slept with him, I was the one who started it. I assume it was the same way with you, Hinata, Temari stated. Actually, Hinata started, causing Temari to twist her head quickly in Hinata's direction. It was kinda both of us. So then it is possible. Temari made him a sex addict. Samui joked. The Samui, Ren, and Temari laughed, as Hinata blushed. So, who is he out with today? Ren asked. He's with Karen and Ino, Temari said, suddenly realizing that Naruto was out with the two most sexually interested women of all of them, that she could tell. Hinata's eyes widened, and slowly, she looked at Temari. Samui looked at the two in confusion, and Ren was quick to do the same. He is a sex addict now, isn't he? Hinata asked. Yeah, Temari answered. Wait, are those the two who argued you a lot? Samui asked. She remembered the two quite well, actually. She had to assume Naruto would find them more attractive than her, thus she was jealous. Yeah. Oh God. He's a sex addict now, Ren yelled. The wives laughed, the thought of Naruto being a sex addict overly hilarious. The wives had finished their drinks, and quickly ordered seconds, and continued their conversations. At Naruto's apartment. Naruto had settled down on his couch, allowing Karen and Ino to get his gift into an appropriate bag to give to him. He really couldn't think of a reason they would be giving him gifts, but he never got that many in his life, so he would not turn one down. As Karen and Ino started into the room, Naruto found himself wishing he had gotten them gifts, though he wouldn't have known where to start. "Hey, Naruto," Karen said, jumping over the back of the couch and sitting next to him. Ino did the same on the other side. Ino pulled a bigger bag from behind the couch and sat it on Naruto's lap. Naruto smiled brightly as he opened the bag and ripped the tissue paper that covered his gift out of the bag. As he got down to the gift, he pulled it out. The bag had contained a long jacket, much like his father's Hokage jacket, colored with white, orange, and black. Turning it around in his hands, he noticed print on the back. Namike Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto could hardly believe his eyes as he looked the jacket over. He noticed the inside had several equipment pockets. Naruto stood up faster than he ever had, and put the coat on quickly. He could hardly believe the fact they had gotten him this. "We had them imprint the thing on the back the whole time we were there. That's why one of us kept leaving. We had to pick out the right jacket, the right colors, and the right print," Ino stated. Naruto was too enthralled to notice sounds going on behind him. The two stumbled into the room of the big house. They had been out all day, and started drinking about 4 hours ago, having drank more than they should have. As they got in, they stopped and looked to the bed. "It was a mistake to get this drunk. I can't remember where the spare bed roll is," one said. "Damn, can't we just share your bed? I'm going to be staying here for a while, so we might as well be comfortable with each other," the other said. "Okay," the first said, obviously very drunk. She then reached for the lamp and lit it. Both of them, Temari and Hinata, winced at the sudden bright light. The both of them crashed to the bed, feeling the alcohol inhibit their minds and bodies. "Gotta get ready for sleep," Temari groaned, sitting up as she started to remove the unnecessary clothing. Hinata weakly did the same, discarding her tight jacket to the ground, and she started to work her pants off. Naruto woke up very satisfied. Though he had only gotten around 5 hours of sleep, it had been one of the best nights of his life. On both sides of him, Karen and Ino were both asleep. Karen was lightly snoring due to exhaustion. Ino had become too exhausted to snore, which baffled Naruto to an extent. He didn't really grasp that the fox had been feeding him chakra all night, which was also part of why he felt like he had slept for 3 days. Getting up lightly, he got into the bathroom. Jumping into the shower, he set it to mostly cold and relaxed. He felt bad for whoever he was taking out today, as they had a lot to live up to. What if it's Hanabi, though, Naruto wondered. Shaking his head quickly, he decided she was still too young for that. Even if she acted older than him. Naruto also considered that it was wrong that he should think they should live up to each other. Naruto jumped out, feeling like he had lost time, and quickly got dressed. Once he was out of the shower, he saw Karen and Ino both had gotten up and had started getting ready. Looking at the clock, he saw he had been in there for 40 minutes. He was shocked, thinking he had only spent maybe 10 in the shower. "Guess it takes me a while to think," Naruto murmured to himself. "How did you sleep?" Karen asked, revealing she was sore from her voice alone. When she stood up, it was obvious she was beat. Ino said as she stood up. She was obviously sore as well. She looked at Naruto and winked. Smiling, Naruto walked to her. "You guys okay?" he asked. After looking over Ino, he ran over to Karen. Checking her over, he decided they both needed a day of relaxing. "Yeah. We will live," Karen said, grabbing the bags of clothing she had gotten yesterday. Naruto bent over, grabbing the jacket they had bought him. After tossing it on, he looked at them. "You guys ready to get moving?" he asked. He had no idea who he was meeting today, so he was kind of excited to figure it out. Maybe if he went with to the meetup, one of them could pick. "Yeah, walk slow though. It hurts to move," Ino requested. Naruto simply nodded in response. Together, the three made their way slowly out of the apartment. "So where is this meeting place?" Naruto asked. Ino and Karen looked at each other, and back to Naruto. I forgot," Ino stated. "I remember where Rin is staying though. We should go there to find out," Karen said. Naruto nodded, and they headed off in the direction of Ren's place. Karen led them to the place where Ren was staying, and sat on the bench outside. "I have to wait here. My legs won't do stairs right now." "Same here," Ino grumbled, sitting next to her. "Just ask the person up front, and she will tell you where to go." "All right," Naruto said, very unsure of what he was doing. He entered the hotel, and walked straight up to the receptionist's desk. "Hi. I'm looking for Rin of the Mist Village." That was when he realized it. He knew very little about a lot of these women. He knew Hanabi and Hinata's last name. He knew Ino's last name, but besides that, he knew very little about a lot of the women. He knew Temari, Hinata, Hanabi, and Ino since he was young. The others he had all met later. Because of that, he felt bad. He was supposed to be learning more about these people. Room 305, the receptionist stated blandly, and went back to work. Naruto nodded, and went for the stairs. When he got up there, he looked at the number a few times, making sure it was the room, and knocked. Inside he heard some rumbling as though the person had fallen. "Coming!" he heard Rin yell. Naruto waited patiently, and eventually Rin opened the door. Naruto looked at her for a second before he finally realized who she was. On the other hand, she seemed to recognize him immediately. Instantly she blushed, and looked away. "I didn't know it was you, Naruto. It's good to see you," Rin murmured. Naruto smiled slightly, and patted her head. "It's good to see you too. Nice to see you are all healed up." Rin smiled, and nodded. "Anyway," Naruto started again, "Karen, Ino, and I were wondering where the meetup is. They tried to remember where it was, but had no luck. We were hoping you would know." Yeah? I can show you if you would meet me outside. I have to change." Rin blushed. It was then that Naruto noticed she was wearing her pajamas, which were just her underwear with a long shirt over them. He blushed a little, and backed up. "Alright, I'll see you outside." Naruto blushed as well. Rin slowly closed the door, and leaned against it for a moment. Seeing her future husband and hero made her feel weak for a moment, then quickly went to get dressed when she realized he would be waiting. At the Hyuga compound, Hinata woke up with two sudden realizations. She was horribly hungover, and there was somebody in the bed with her. Sitting up quickly, she knocked the arm away from her, and looked. Fully nude next to her was Temari. Hinata looked at herself, and gasped. She herself was completely naked. As she stood, her pounding headache hit her, and she almost fell from the throbbing. "Son of a bitch," Hinata heard from behind her. Quickly looking back, she saw Temari sitting up, holding her head. She looked to Hinata, seeing her naked, and looked back to herself. "Wow. That really happened." "Yeah, and I think I'm dying right now," Hinata responded, needing to sit. Temari chuckled a little, and kept her head in her hands. "I hope you're not dying 'cause it was that bad." "It's the hangover. Listen, can we talk about this tomorrow? When we aren't sick?" "Yeah." Together, they got dressed, and headed to find Tsunade. It would be awkward to explain they were horribly hungover and needed treatment, but Tsunade is the one person who would understand. They hoped. At the meeting, Temari and Hinata walked into the meeting place, now recovered thanks to N4 and medical ninjutsu. Looking at the ones already there, they saw Karen, Ino, Rin, who seemed fine, and Samui, who seemed fine as well. As they got to the table, they noticed another was with them. It was Naruto. "Didn't realize you would be here, Naruto. Nice jacket." Temari smiled. Hello, Naruto," Hinata said, with a very slight stutter. Hinata also included a compliment on his jacket. Once the two sat, Samui looked at them. "Naruto was just telling us that he has no idea who he is going out with today. Among us here right now, only Rin and I have yet to go with him. Hanabi should be back soon enough, and Kuratsuchi will probably wait till the wedding, or the week before, to actually arrive and go out with Naruto. It's nothing against you personally, Naruto. It's just past village hate that she won't let go of. Even if the villages are at peace right now." "I understand. That's why I am trying my hardest to figure out how to make her feel happy around here when she gets here," Naruto stated. "That's nice of you, considering she will probably be a pain. To be honest, though I have only been here for a little bit, the Leaf Village has grown on me. I hope it does the same for her." "Me too. But who should I be going out with?" The girls all looked at each other. It felt strange to think about, but it was easier to pick considering some of them had already been out with him. It was a simple vote between Samui and Rin. "I will be okay with waiting another day. Besides, I want to be the last, before Kuratsuchi. I know her a bit, so I can try to prepare Naruto then," Samui said before the voting even got underway. "I think I should go," a voice said behind Temari and Hinata. Everybody looked, and saw Hanabi standing by them. "If that's okay." Naruto looked at Rin, who smiled and nodded. Internally, she had wished she could have gone out with Naruto. She could, however, wait a little longer. "Alright, Hanabi. We can head out. It was supposed to be yesterday anyway." Naruto stood, and said goodbye to everybody. Hanabi took his hand, and the two left. "That was a little bitchy. But I guess I understand. She was apparently supposed to go out with him yesterday, so she probably feels a little ripped off," Samui whispered. "Yeah. I can wait until tomorrow, anyway. Rin said. That's my sister. She is quite determined. Yeah. And you are her sister? Looks like she got all the determination, Temari stated dryly. All of it, Hinata smiled. But she has her sweet moments. You will all see them. Believe me. As a matter of fact, I'm sure Naruto will see her nice side. Well, alright, Samui said, and relaxed in her seat. Oh my god! Hinata gasped suddenly. Everyone looked at her suddenly, and followed where she was looking. Karen, Ino, Temari, and even Samui gasped. Outside the window was Sakura. It had been a long time since anybody had seen her. If they hadn't seen her pink hair, they wouldn't have recognized her. She had always been pale, but she was almost pure white now. She had always been skinny, but they could now see her hip and cheek bones. Ino looked away with tears in her eyes, and Karen wrapped her arm around her shoulder for comfort. Hinata could only stare in disbelief. Temari looked away in discontentment that she had fallen that far because of one man. Samui had only met Sakura briefly, but even she was shocked. All they could do was hope she didn't run into Naruto on his time out with Hanabi. Then she did the next worst thing. She looked in through the window, her eyes looking as empty as someone's eyes could, and saw them. With Naruto and Hanabi. Naruto walked through the streets, Hanabi still holding his hand tightly, and wandered to the food district. He had no idea what to do while on a date with Hanabi. He assumed it would be different than the others. Mainly because if she tried to initiate sex, he would decline. So far, he had only started it with Hinata, though he supposed the accidental towel slip could be blamed a little. So where are we going, Hanabi? Naruto asked. To the dango shop we went to a few years back, Hanabi stated. Naruto thought back, and began to remember going there with her between missions. He really didn't, and still doesn't, like dango. She had asked to go there, however, and he agreed to go with. Alright. They made their way into the dango shop, and were quick to order. Naruto watched Hanabi order, and not disliking what she ordered, got the same thing. He didn't eat here at all really, and had no idea what they had. After they got their food, and Naruto paid, the two went outside to sit on a bench located at the front of the store. You know, Hanabi started, making Naruto almost jump in surprise. She had been quiet most of the time so far. The first time we came here all that time ago I counted it as my first date now more than ever. Us getting married soon and all, it just makes it feel more like it really was my first date. Naruto had never considered the effect he could have had on her. Looking back now, he hadn't realized his impact on so many people's lives, yet there were now several people who wanted to marry him, were willing to deal with the Clan Restoration Act, and were on their way to becoming friends. It was quite touching to really take in how lucky he was, and how he was starting to have a family of his very own. It was something he had always wanted, and he was now well on his way to having a family. Wow. I hadn't realized how much that meant to you. It really does mean a lot though, Naruto said, eating his dango, and taking Hanabi's hand in his. Naruto looked at Hanabi with a smile. It's okay. I mean, I was kinda young then, but so were you, I guess. So it was just something I didn't expect you to think about, I guess. Yeah, well, what do you want to do after we finish eating? Hanabi thought about what she usually wanted to do, and had trouble thinking of something she actually liked to do without it being against on a date material. Well, I guess we could spar. I'd really like to see how strong you have become. I mean, I'm sure I'm nowhere as strong as you, but I just want to get a gauge, and show you how strong I am. That's fine. I could use a good workout. And I will go easy on you. It really isn't a fair fight saying I have the nine-tailed fox, after all. Yeah, I guess not. I would still like to meet the fox someday. I'm sure you will meet him someday. We chat quite often, and I'm sure he would like to meet all my wives someday. The two finished their dango, and though it really didn't fill Naruto, he was content for now. The two stood up, and headed for the training ground. At the wives' meet-up, Sakura walked in. None who knew her could believe it. Since Sasuke was brought back, she seemed to avoid them altogether. Now though, she was there. She was walking toward them. She looked mad. Hello everyone, Sakura said with anger in her voice. How nice to see you all. We're stepping outside, Samui stated, and pulled Ren up from her seat. The two of them excused themselves away from the soon-to-be-seen. You can get out of here too, Hinata and Temari. You haven't betrayed anybody, Sakura stated, the anger very apparent in her voice. Hinata looked at Ino and Karen, giving them a quick apologetic look, and they left the place. Sakura, look. We understand you're mad, but... Shut up. Sakura screamed at Ino as she tried to talk. Both Ino and Karen flinched as their ex-friend shouted. You two think you can just abandon Sasuke like you did? Not only that, but you didn't even complain when he was sent to prison without trial. It has just been me fighting to get him a trial, and get him freed, while you two just sit there. Not only that, but I hear you two are going to marry Naruto now. You two just give up on Sasuke, and move on to Sasuke's greatest enemy. You abandoned Sasuke, you abandoned me, and you abandoned yourselves. Karen and Ino just sat there listening. Both wanted to yell at Sakura, but thought it would only make it worse. There was Sakura, yelling at them, and looking more like a skeleton than their past friend. She was so brainwashed by Sasuke that she couldn't see how ridiculous she was being. Do you two have anything to say for yourselves? Sakura yelled after her rant. Karen, who had less of a history with her, snapped. Yeah. You are crazy, and we are busy preparing for our wedding day. If you are done being a brainwashed fool, then please leave, Karen said. Ino instantly hoped that Sakura's body could no longer sustain its past super strength punches, or Karen may die. You bitch, Sakura whispered, hate dripping in her voice. Her hand went back quickly, and Ino felt herself rise slightly to stop Sakura from possibly killing Karen. A hand suddenly stopped Sakura's though. Who the hell? Behind Sakura was Temari, holding Sakura's hand in a death grip. Sakura turned to look at her, and saw Hinata, Samui, and Rin behind her. I don't know what she said, but we saw your face after she said it, and I will be damned if I let you mess with one of Naruto's other wives. Temari growled. Sakura's face twisted in anger, and looked like she was getting ready to swing at Temari. Hinata noticed this, and moved in. Slamming two palms into Sakura's side, Hinata sent her flying away from them, and crashing into the restaurant's wall. Karen and Ino both looked at the other wives with shock in their eyes. We should probably pay for the damage before we get in serious trouble from this, Hinata murmured. The others nodded in agreement, and headed to pay. It would have easier to just run, but they liked this place too much to just leave. Don't worry about it, the owner said when they tried to hand him cash. She was obviously insane, and the village police are on the way to get her. Thank you, they each said and left. Both were overly happy to be out of there from meeting Sakura again after so long, and finding out she had lost her mind. Ino and Hinata felt the biggest hit from seeing her, having known her most of their lives. I don't think we should tell Naruto about seeing her, Karen murmured. Samui and Rin looked at her with a shocked expression, while Temari nodded, and Hinata and Ino stayed lost in thought. Well, look at Ino and Hinata. They are crushed. Also, yesterday Naruto and Ino both got upset when Sakura was brought up in discussion alone. Think about what it will do to him when he hears how far she has fallen, and how bad her mind is warped. It's just not worth it. I don't know if we should keep this from him, Samui stated dryly. I think we should, Ino suddenly chimed in. The other future wives looked at her, waiting for her reasoning. If it would have been Naruto here instead of me, I wouldn't want him to tell me. I'm not going to tell him, but if you guys want to, be my guest. At that, they all understood. It would hurt too much to know. They all could imagine what he would feel, and suddenly felt worried about telling him. Samui, however, still felt it wasn't right. I will tell him. This is a piece of information that he has a right to know, and would feel betrayed if we kept it. I know he will understand if you don't wish to tell him, but Ren or I should, and comfort him with what may come after. All right, Ino returned. That was just really painful to deal with. Why don't we all go to my family's compound? There is lots of room there so we may all hang out, Hinata said, still in shock over Sakura's behavior, but more so her appearance. She had always been thin, but attractively so. Now she was pale, starved, and insane. It was a lot to take in just a few moments. That sounds nice. Let's do that, Ren said from the back. Slowly, everybody came to an agreement that some time to relax where there wouldn't be any awkward encounters. With Hanabi and Naruto. The pair got to the training grounds quickly. Naruto, who was still nervous what to do next, was happy the idea of training came up. A quick spar would be good. Standing opposite each other, the two got ready to throw some punches. Naruto had figured they would only punch and kick, until Hanabi activated her Byakugan. Wait, I don't want to fight you using jutsu. I could really hurt you, Naruto insisted, backing up a bit. Thinking to himself, he could only think of a few jutsu that he knew that wouldn't be potentially fatal. I want to see what you can do. Niji and Hinata are good, but I am better, Hanabi said. At that moment, she rushed at Naruto. Should we show her what we are capable of? The fox asked. Naruto didn't need to think about it, opting they only use 1/10 of their ability. The fox, who had remained completely still up till then, gave Naruto the required natural energy needed to go into Sage mode. Hanabi didn't falter, and instead struck Naruto in the stomach with a chakra-infused flat palm. Sending him flying back a bit, Hanabi smiled in suspected victory. When Naruto stood up, however, she realized how wrong she was. Seeing his chakra flow, she couldn't help but notice that the natural energy had blocked her attack, and Naruto had received no real damage. I think she realizes what we can do now. The fox chuckled. Naruto smiled lightly, and moved in to attack Hanabi. Though she tried to jump back, Naruto grabbed her arm, and tossed her playfully. After doing so, he wished he hadn't, as Hanabi appeared to become angry about his casual attitude toward the fight suddenly. Naruto frowned, and stepped back a bit, not wanting her to hurt herself trying to attack him. The only thing he could think of, however, was to take the spar session seriously. Getting ready to fight, he dashed at Hanabi just as she charged at him. The two threw punches, and Hanabi assaulted Naruto with continuous waves of Hyuga Jutsu. Naruto had decided after getting serious that he would refrain from using jutsu. He didn't want Hanabi getting hurt from any of his jutsu, most of which could easily kill any non-homicidal maniac, like the villains he faced in the past. Okay, I want to at least see one of your stronger jutsu, Hanabi said, slightly exhausted. Naruto, who was feeling pretty good from the workout, nodded. He stood completely still for a few moments. Before long, he had decided what to show her. Ready? Naruto yelled, and a flash of blinding light flooded the area. Hanabi was pushed back a bit by a wind of chakra what resonated from Naruto. Once the light had faded, she looked to see another transformation of Naruto, rather than a jutsu. While she was slightly saddened, she was awestruck at the same time. Before her was Naruto standing atop the nine-tailed fox's head. Hanabi ended her Byakugan jutsu, as the sheer amount of chakra that flowed between the two was hurting her eyes. From behind her, back in the village, she could hear people cheering and whistling. At one time, the fox was the embodiment of everything the village hated. Now, he was an attachment of their hero, and just as much a hero himself. Wa was the only thing Hanabi could murmur as she stood staring at the two. She couldn't help but realize how weak she was, yet at the same time, she felt safer than she ever did in her entire life. With Naruto protecting her, it would take all the shinobi world to get to her. Naruto, realizing that Hanabi had seen enough, dropped the form, and landed on his feet by her. Hanabi dropped down to sit on the ground with a still very shocked face on. You okay? Naruto asked her. I've never felt safer or weaker in my entire life. I would be willing to train you. I don't want anyone to feel weak. It's just as nice I have the power to protect everybody I love. Which does, by the way, include all my future wives. Naruto said, and sat down next to her on the ground. Looking over to him, Hanabi smiled and rested her head on his shoulder. Smiling, Hanabi kissed Naruto's cheek. Come on. You should probably take me home, Hanabi said, standing up. Nodding, Naruto also stood up. The two began their walk back to the Hyuga mansion. As they walked, Hanabi decided to hold Naruto's hand, which didn't bother Naruto. As long as she wasn't trying to sleep with him. He felt bad thinking that, as he had with most of the other future wives, but she was still a little young. So I hear you have slept with quite a few of the other future wives, Hanabi said as though she had read his mind. Naruto reacted the same way. What? Where did you hear that? Naruto said, jumping back a bit. Hanabi laughed a sweet laugh, thinking it was funny he was either protecting their honor, or trying to avoid it with her. Temari said she did. Hinata slept over the other night, and you were out with Ino and Karen. It was pretty obvious, Hanabi stated. Naruto lowered his head, thinking she was about to scold him or something. It's okay. I knew that it would be one of the things I would have to get over when I offered to be in this relationship. All the wives have thought of it, and have dealt with it too, I assume. And I know you are avoiding it with me. That is fine. Soon enough, though, it will happen. After all, you have one busy wedding night. Naruto stared at her, not sure what to say. He felt really selfish suddenly, realizing all that the wives had to deal with, realizing they would have to share him. Looking at the ground, he started to think about it. He wouldn't be willing to share a single one of them with another man, so why should one of them be willing to share him with the others? Hey, Hanabi said, breaking him from his train of thought. It's okay. You didn't really ask for this, I'm sure. And we all volunteered. We're all friends, and we all understand what is being asked of us. You have no room for blame over the fact we are all in this relationship, especially saying there will probably be days where most of us will be aggravated with you. But it's okay. If it wasn't, do you think we would all meet up to get to know each other? Naruto smiled. Hearing her list why it was okay did make him feel a lot better, though he was still a little bothered. He could only hope when they were all married, it would solve any internal disputes he had with the idea. Thanks, Hanabi. Naruto smiled, and kissed her on the forehead. Not what she had hoped for, but she understood. The two continued their walk toward the Hyuga compound, and soon arrived. Hanabi and Naruto stood outside the gate, ready to say their goodbyes. From inside the mansion, they could hear the laughter of the other future wives. They must be in Hinata's room. Hers is oddly enough at the front of the house, Hanabi mentioned. Wanna stop inside and chat? Sure. Naruto smiled. Good. But first, Hanabi murmured, and kissed Naruto on the lips. Naruto didn't resist, feeling she had earned at least this for helping him through his realization that he should have really had from the beginning. After the kiss broke, Naruto smiled at Hanabi, who was blushing. If I couldn't have you for the night, then I at least wanted that. The two made their way into the mansion, and arrived at Hinata's room after exchanging pleasantries with a few members of the clan, and Hayashi. Knocking first, the girls all quieted down, and Hinata quietly said to come in. Hanabi led the way, followed by Naruto. Naruto was amazed by the sight of the room. It was much larger than his apartment alone. Quietly, he whispered needing a place like this for him and his big family. Hanabi and Naruto. They all shouted, except for Samui, who only smiled and said it softly. What did you guys do today? Hinata asked happily. Seeing her ask so naturally assured him that they really did realize what they signed up for. We ate, sparred, and I harassed Naruto on how much of a whore he is, Hanabi answered. The response caused a burst of laughter from most of them, with Hinata and Naruto keeping quiet and blushing. We forgot to ask it, but I suppose that means Ino and Karen did have their way with you, huh? Samui asked in a cool voice. Hell yes, Karen said with a grin. This time they all laughed, except for Naruto, who stayed blushing. So, you staying the night here, Naruto? Temari asked. Naruto looked confused, so Hinata explained. I offered to let them stay over. We're going to have a slumber party. In truth, it was my father's idea. After meeting them, he insisted that they stay over. Hinata explained. And he insisted that we stay here now. I guess he has rooms to put us in as well, Samui stated. And I was offered to live here yesterday. Hinata over here and I cuddled. Temari smiled teasingly, obviously hiding what really happened, which was staying between Hinata and herself for now. Naruto decided to nod that he would be staying, though he blushed more after hearing that Hinata and Temari cuddled. It just didn't seem like something Hinata would do. With Temari, it was slightly believable. Cool. A big party then, Rin said happily. Hinata, Hanabi, and Temari went and got sleeping bag-like beds, and everyone set up theirs on the floor, with Naruto's close to Hinata's bed. Everybody else placed theirs by his. Looking around after counting the places, Naruto had to ask Hinata something. You're missing two. Do you want me to help get them? It's okay. Temari asked if she could cuddle again. Hinata started as Temari got into Hinata's bed. And we decided that Hanabi should at least sleep with you. Is that okay? Hanabi asked. Naruto smiled and nodded. Naruto scooted over and let Hanabi get into his sleeping bag. Naruto wrapped his arms around her as she cuddled up close to him. No fucking you too, Karen said a little too loud, causing everybody to laugh loudly. As the noise calmed down, there was a loud smack noise, causing everybody to look over at Naruto and Hanabi. Seeing that they were still the way they were, the four others on the ground looked confused. Stop it, Temari. The quiet room heard Hinata say, causing a loud burst of laughter again, and causing Naruto to shoot up and look at them. Hinata, who was blushing from being heard, looked sheepishly at him. She groped me. Naruto laughed quietly, as everybody else thundered with laughter, and stroked Hinata's cheek with his hand. Laying back down, he cuddled with Hanabi again. A lot of the night was spent with all of them laughing and joking, with very little sleeping being done. When they did, however, Hanabi had drifted to sleep next to her future husband, surrounded by all of his other future wives. It was strange, but she couldn't think of a time she was happier. None of them could. It felt good waking up where he did. He knew it wouldn't always be like this, but it felt good waking up surrounded by his future wives. In his sleeping bag, Hanabi was still close to him, and still in a deep sleep. Hearing faint talking, he turned his head to see Ren and Samui talking, still laying in their sleeping bags. You guys already up? Naruto asked, making both Samui and Ren jump in surprise. Oh. Hey Naruto. Did you sleep well? Ren asked. Yeah. Did you guys? Naruto asked. Both Ren and Samui nodded in agreement, both smiling. So, seeing as Kuratsuchi isn't here yet, which of you am I going out with today? I would say Rin, as it almost was yesterday. I do know Kuratsuchi a bit, and I want to prepare you for her. Rin, on the other hand, would probably like to catch up with you, saying it has been a long time since she has seen you, and I can wait. Samui said with little pause. Naruto nodded, and attempted to sit up. Finding it suddenly difficult, he looked to see Hanabi holding onto him tightly. Smiling lightly, he rubbed her head lightly. Hanabi, I know you're awake, Naruto stated. Hanabi slowly opened one eye, looking at him with a sleepy look. Do we have to get up? You're so comfy, Hanabi asked, tightening her grip. Yeah, sorry, Naruto whispered. Looking around, he noticed that Ino, Karen, Hinata, and Temari were all still asleep. Okay, I guess we can wait for the others to wake up. Is that okay, Rin? Rin smiled, and nodded happily. All four laid down again, and awaited the others to wake up. At the Hokage's mansion. So Kuratsuchi is officially on her way, then Tsunade murmured, with Shizen standing in the corner. And from what I have heard, Naruto is going out with Rin today, Samui tomorrow, and has been in contact with the other girls besides that. That means after Kuratsuchi, they can be married. I don't think I could get by with giving him longer than a week till they are married. Yes, Lady Tsunade, Shizen said, making sure she didn't feel like she was talking to herself. And how has the search for a place for them to live been going? Tsunade asked, looking at her assistant. Very well, actually. We have narrowed the selection down to 3 places. All we need to do is have them take a look at the places. We want to wait until after Naruto has went out with them all. Makes sense. Now, on to the next issue, Sakura. Ah, yes. Well, she paid for her bail, and has disappeared. For some reason, even the Umbu haven't found her. I find that very strange. Have the Umbu look every inch of the village, then in and around Sasuke's cell, then all over the Fire Country. I'm going to add her to the bingo books until after the wedding of Naruto and his wives. Yes, Lady Tsunade, Shizen said uneasily. Go ahead. I can tell you want to say something. It's just, don't you feel bad doing all this for you old apprentice? I mean, what if she is caught and killed? Tsunade thought for a moment, trying to figure out a way to explain how she really felt about the situation. She couldn't think of a way to explain how much it hurt her to do, but she knew it was a necessary thing to do. She just hoped everybody would understand that. In truth, however, she felt this was a warm-up explanation for what would surely be an angry Naruto later. She has completely changed. She is not my apprentice anymore. The girl I once taught is seemingly dead, and replaced by this husk. I saw her after she was arrested, and I couldn't even face her. After I left, she disappeared. I do feel like it is my fault, as I could have talked to her more about her issues. I didn't though. I doubt if I had said anything it would not have mattered, as she would most likely have not listened. Tsunade explained. Realizing how much she hated talking about the topic, she changed it. So, Naruto's wedding should be soon. Are you going to go? Tsunade said, changing her tone like the last conversation didn't happen. Shizen sighed, but knew there was no going back to it. Of course I am going. Naruto is like a little brother to me. Yeah. Well, I would say Kuratsuchi should be here in 3 days, so let's set the wedding a week after she gets here. With the wedding set, we can start working on it right away. Of course, the people involved will be asked to help work on it, but we will take care of the smaller things. We should also get the location. Okay. I will get some people to start working on that. Write up a list so we can start knocking things out of the way as early as possible. Will do. Until then, keep on the lookout for Sakura. With Naruto and his future wives. Naruto and his future wives were up now, and ready to get their day going. Rin stood by Naruto, as he was taking her out that day. The rest were ready to have a day of fun together. So I will see you all tomorrow then at some point? Naruto asked. Yeah. Meet us here so you can get me tomorrow, Samui stated, smiling. Naruto nodded, and grabbed Ren's hand. Together, the two walked off. The wives turned, and headed off themselves. So what would you like to do today, Naruto? Ren asked. Naruto could tell she was nervous. Not shy, just nervous. Well, why don't you decide? I mean, we're getting to know each other, so I would like to learn about where you are comfortable. Naruto answered. Ren looked at him nervously. It took her a while to think of some place, but Naruto stayed patient. Well, do you like books? Ren asked nervously. Never really read them. I spend most of my time with Jutsu scrolls. But if you want to find a bookstore or something, we can do that. I'm sure they have something for training, Naruto answered. Okay, you're sure? Because we could do something else if you wanted. No, a bookstore is fine, Naruto assured quickly. He didn't want to make her feel weird. He wasn't particularly smart, but with her, he was sure to gain some IQ points. Everyone knew he needed them. Oh, okay, Ren murmured. Naruto knew her overall nervous behavior would have to be overcome for her own good, but that could happen in its own time. Or was she just nervous around him? The two made their way to the shop and walked in. Ren led the way into the shop, being very excited about being in a bookstore. Naruto followed behind her, with the only excitement coming from hoping to find training books for one, and seeing Ren happy as a bonus. Ren instantly led Naruto to the area where he could find what he wanted. Wow. You already know your way around the Konoha bookstore. I guess you've come here a lot then, Naruto guessed. Ren nodded sheepishly, blushing at the feeling of possibly being weird. Cool. That means you know where I can find anything I might need to find someday. Like my own personal librarian. Ren blushed from the praise of Naruto, even though it was strange praise. Getting to the area with training books, Naruto flipped through them. Thinking to himself that scrolls were easier to unfold and sit by while trying to learn a jutsu, he would try it. If for no other reason than for Ren. Having found what interested him, he then followed Ren around as she looked around. To Naruto, it felt like she was looking at every book in the store, but knew it was something that made her happy. If reading was her passion, then he would try to enjoy it as well. Walking around, Naruto saw something he had almost forgot about. It was the anniversary of the death of Jiraiya, his former teacher. Below a picture was a picture of the great man was all the things he had ever wrote and released to the public. All of his Make Out Paradise books, and the first story he wrote, The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. Naruto, who had never read any of Jiraiya's books, walked over to the display. He stood there for a moment, looking at the picture of his old teacher. Ren noticed him walk over to the display right away, yet paused. She saw him looking at the picture, and could only guess by his silence that the person in the picture was someone he knew. The picture let her know that he was dead. Armed with that, and the age, she could only conclude that the man was an old teacher of Naruto. She knew that was the case, as far as she could gather from what she knew. She walked away from the bookshelf she was by, and walked over to Naruto. He was your sensei, am I right? Yeah, he trained me more than my first sensei did in the beginning. He taught me how to summon, taught me my father's jutsu, taught me to control what's inside me. You mean the Kyuubi? Ren asked. I don't know how you know these things. The poster, and the way you looked at him gave it away. The whole Kyuubi thing became world knowledge during the war. If you were trying to hide it, you didn't do a very good job, Ren explained. She suddenly became embarrassed and felt like she pried into his past too much. She was about to turn around to avoid eye contact when she heard Naruto laugh. She froze in place, as she heard a more powerful, almost dangerous, under Naruto's laugh. Naruto clamped his mouth shut a little bit, seeing the shock in her face. Sorry, the Kyuubi liked what you said. We sometimes bicker over my intelligence, Naruto explained. Ren calmed a little, not knowing much about the Kyuubi, or its relationship with Naruto. You're very smart. You picked all that up from the poster though? Well, and how you reacted as well. Gotcha, I don't really like the style of books he wrote, but in his memory, I will try to read them, Naruto said, picking up the box that had the 4 he published. Looking at them, he smiled. They had an introduction wrote by Naruto's other sensei, Kakashi. How about we tell each other about our lives after we leave here? I feel like we both don't know about each other. Oh, I think I know more than you think, Ren stated, hinting about her way of observation. With the wives. Today, the wives decided it wouldn't be a good idea to return to the usual restaurant. After the run-in with Sakura, they wanted a while to process what happened. Instead, they decided today would be a good day to go out and about, and really see what Konoha had to offer, for those that didn't know. They all agreed to get something to eat, shop, and visit some of the places that Naruto loved to visit. Hinata and Ino both knew where he liked to visit, so that made it easy. So where should we go first? Hanabi asked the others. The other future wives all looked about themselves, and some shrugged. We could get ramen, Naruto likes it, Hinata said. Alright, but I don't think there are enough seats for us all there, Temari said. Out of all of them, she had been there with Naruto the most. The others really didn't have as much time to really date him, though between Karen, Hinata, Hanabi, and Ino, they had plenty of time to be around him. Those who had agreed that Rin and Samui would get the days till Kuratsuchi got there, then Kuratsuchi would get a couple, then they would all stick around him as they got used to the Clan Restoration Act life. One plus side was time off of work. Other pluses were money twice a year for helping a dying clan, free housing, family for those who never really had it, and best of all, Naruto. Well, I guess we will just have to figure it out, Samly murmured. As they got closer, they all heard their stomachs growling. None of them had bothered to eat breakfast. When they got there, they were pleased to see the place was still setting up. They didn't realize how early it was, but were pleased that they wouldn't have to wait in a line to eat. Getting under the overhang on the eatery, they instantly saw the power team, Tsuchi and Ayam. Hey! It's most of Naruto's future wives! Tsuchi yelled happily. They all smiled and said their hellos and good mornings. Where are the other two? We heard he is getting 8. Not that you aren't enough. It's okay. Rin is out with Naruto right now, and Kuratsuchi will be here in a few days, Temari said. I see. Well, how about I go get 2 of you chairs so you guys can eat? Hate to have 2 of you sit in the dirt, Tsuchi said, and left to get chairs. When he left, Ayam walked over and asked them what they wanted to order. They all ordered the breakfast bowl, which promised on the menu to give all the energy needed till lunch. It sounded strange, as it had a lot of the things in it that would work. Things like fish chunks, sausage, eggs, and other items. The real reason they ordered it was because it had the word breakfast in it. Alright. You'll get started on it right away, Ayam said, and got to work, as her father came around and set 2 chairs up for 2 others. As they all sat down, everyone noticed Temari and Hinata sitting by each other. They then all seemed to remember those 2 being around each other a lot lately. Even Karen and Ino noticed, though they always sat by each other. Between the 2 of them, Karen and Ino both agreed to bring it up when it was just them and the other wives. Their food was done before long, and Tsuchi and Ayam took the rest of the time to set up the rest of the shop and talk with the wives. Just so you all know, stop by whenever. We are always willing to open early or close late for anyone who Naruto loves, Tsuchi said, wiping and checking woks and pans. Thank you, but we really don't want to cause a problem, Hinata said. Tsuchi laughed instantly. Nonsense. Naruto has been one of the most dedicated people to us, and I will always treat him with the most respect. He always came here, even in the off times where no one would come, Tsuchi reassured. The wives all smiled. Thank you. And we are sorry for barging in like this, but we know how popular this place gets. We wanted to be the first, and we really didn't expect you to open up early for us, Ino said in response. It's okay. I don't see you all enough for my tastes, so it is no trouble. I really haven't seen Naruto that much either. You girls should bring him around more. We will, but he doesn't need to eat more than ramen, Hanabi stated. Tsuchi smiled and nodded. So, do you girls get talked to a lot by the other villagers? Tsuchi asked. I just assume you are like celebrities at this point. Not really. For the most part it is just like it always has been when visiting this village, Temari answered. That might change when the crowd comes in later, Tsuchi stated. The wives looked at each other awkwardly, realizing he might be right. Naruto was the first one to take the clan restoration act in the Leaf Village for a long time, so he was a hero and an oddity. So how is everything going with the clan restoration act? Consul staying out of your hair? So far, yeah, Samly said. Everyone else was eating between responses. And Naruto treating you all okay? Because if there is ever any trouble, I will smack that kid into shape. I love the kid, that's why I can do that, Tsuchi asked. Yeah. Everything is fine. I don't think he could treat us wrongly if he tried. It just isn't in him, Ino said this time. While that is true, you gotta make sure he doesn't become stressed trying to make sure you are all happy. You will have to entertain yourselves sometimes, Tsuchi stated. We all need him to keep being the great ninja we all know he is. Agreed, they all said. It then hit both Ino and Karen that may be the reason why Hinata and Temari may seem close. But them? Karen thought, looking at Ino. Couldn't be, Ino thought in a seeming response. I mean, we are a weird back rub away from being lesbians, but them? Them? No, I don't think so, maybe. Both looked away, wondering if they were actually properly responding to each other in their heads, and by sheer coincidence, they were. The wives continued to eat, and time passed. Before they knew it, it was opening time to the public, and people started to show up. Sadly, Tsuchi was right. The wives were recognized, and people began to talk to them. They all asked questions like, what is it like being in a clan restoration act? What is Naruto really like? How long until the wedding? Where are you all going to live? The questions were all answered to the best of their ability, but more and more people began to show up, and tried to get them talking. Tsuchi decided as they got closer to finishing their food he started telling them all that they didn't have to pay, and should leave when they wanted to. He told each of them one by one, and took their bowls when they finished. Okay, you all! Time to leave these ladies alone, Tsuchi insisted, and the wives got up. He waved and said goodbye, and they did the same for him. After that, they took off away from the crowd. They all were happy so many people took a liking to them, but they all wished they would have respected their privacy a bit more. So I guess we should skip shopping then, Ino said. I guess we should just check out the other places Naruto loves, Karen suggested. Sounds good to me, Samly stated. With Naruto and Ren. So what did you do in your village? Naruto asked as they walked to their next destination. I was part of the Umbu. My specialization was tracking the most dangerous. I'm not the best fighter, but I was good at getting in people's heads. Good at analyzing any situation. Though I really don't like looking back at it, Ren answered. That's fine. So have you analyzed me then? Naruto asked. Yes, as much as I felt comfortable doing, Ren answered. What do you mean? Well, Ren started, walking in front of Naruto. She seemed different as she read him. Less nervous. More self-confident. A little scary. You train daily, except for the past few. You were very nearly killed years ago. You have been off of duty for quite a while, but you have made sure your skills haven't degraded. Naruto looked at her with surprise. Everything was true. Wow. You can tell all that just from looking at me. Yeah. The easiest was the almost died thing. There is a massive scar on your shoulder, though it is barely visible. It's so faded, it looks like a childhood injury, but I am sure it is closer to your early teen years. Wow. That's dead on. Let me try, Naruto said, and squinted his eyes, trying to see something he could read on her that would tell something about her. I got nothing. It's okay. It was very hard to get where I am now with my skills. It helps when I have to fight, because a lot of people have a tell when they are about to attack. Ren explained. Do I? Don't know. I have never fought you. To be honest, I would imagine so. I know ninja are trained not to, but sometimes, it can be a small giveaway. Something uncontrollable. How well, is there anything you want to ask me? Well, Ren whispered. She started to think over all the questions she had wanted to ask him. She had waited so long to see him again, and wanted to ask the person who saved her so many things. Over the entire time she was there, she had learned the too many of her questions. I can't think of many. Are there any questions you want to ask me? What's your favorite color? The question surprised Ren. Thinking very fast, she tried to pick a meaning out of it. Maybe it was the idea you could tell a lot about someone by their favorite color. For her, it was sort of true. Baby blue. She waited for him to analyze her answer. He just smiled, and said that his was orange. It was not a surprise. When he said nothing else, she figured he didn't know anything about the social science of colors. It was fine. He was fun to be around. He was very nice. He was very smart in his own way. What is something you are proud of? Ren asked. I have fought both Madara Uchiha and Itachi Uchiha. The Itachi fight was very fast. Barely any fight. We just left each other alone. Madara had some help. The masked man Obito? Yeah. Good God, have you just been fighting the Uchiha clan? What's left of it? I'm sorry, I've heard that there may be some still out there. That might have been my village getting its hopes up to steal another village's Kekai Genkai, but I don't know. It would be nice. The clan doesn't deserve to die because of its past. The one who almost killed you, was that an Uchiha? Because I couldn't see that scar when you saved me. It was covered. Naruto paused and looked at his outfit. Everything up to his neck was covered. Wait, how did you see it? I cheated. I saw it last night while you were sleeping with Hanabi. And the other stuff? It's all obvious. Someday, I will teach you how to do it. Maybe after the wedding. Something tells me the skill would come in handy with as many wives as you will have. It would probably save you a lot of angry women in your life. You would be able to tell a lot about people's emotions, obviously. Sounds good. Do you really think I'm going to get in that much trouble? Let's think about it. Several women living in the same clan home, our periods may sync up, and if that were to happen, we are all going to get mad real fast. You think you train hard? I don't even want to be me if that happens. Naruto gulped. He could only imagine that he would be running around a lot at super speeds just trying to keep everyone with a calm head. And when we start having children? Naruto passed out. With the wives. The wives had seen the sights of the village, and were excited to see the final recommended spot. The top of the Hokage monument. As the wives got to the top, they saw why Naruto liked the location. The lights from Konoha were shining in such a way it seemed like a magical city in a snow globe. The streets below were almost completely empty in most areas, and the fire of Konoha seemed to be resting to rise again tomorrow. The future wives all stared over the edge of the monument, taking in the sight of the amazing village below. Karen and Ino looked over and saw Hinata and Temari standing near each other again. Deciding that saying it was only them and the other wives, it was as good of a time as any to ask. So you two slept in the same bed, and have been near each other all day. What's up? Karen asked. Everyone looked at them, and the others followed their gaze to Hinata and Temari. Hinata looked suddenly shocked, and slightly nervous, while Temari just sighed, and looked at Hinata for the okay. After Hinata nodded, Temari answered. We are still deciding. See, the night most of us drank we had sex. Before then, I had always really liked Hinata, a little like a crush, but since then I don't know, it just feels like a bit more. We promised to talk about it, but a good time has never really came up. Everyone was shocked to hear the two had sex. Out of everything Karen and Ino had came up with, they both had decided throughout the day that was too far. The rest of the future wives were stunned, some not noticing anything was going on, and others just dismissing it as a coincidence. Hinata blushed heavily, realizing that her sister was right there. Wow. We didn't expect that, Karen murmured. Everyone else looked at them shocked. Thank you for telling us. I'm sure it took a lot to tell us, Ino said. It won't change things with everybody, will it? Hinata asked. No, Samui said instantly. Everybody else was shaking their heads no, with an approving look on their faces. You are welcome to do whatever you want. You are welcome to be whoever you want, Hanabi said, looking at her sister first, then to Temari. But Naruto does need to know. Saying he will be coming back here tomorrow to get Samui, you should really talk to him. Talk tonight and figure out what you want to do, and tell him. Yet Temari whispered. Even though it was unlike him, she had to wonder if he would be mad. She knew it was unlike him, but that was something she always worried about. With Naruto and Ren. Naruto gained consciousness fast, and was up. Ren had got him to a bench, and had him half laying on his side. Sorry. Didn't mean to scare you that much. I'm surprised you got so scared by that, saying how strong you are. I still would never hurt a woman unless my life was threatened. I've fought them before, but I've never really taken enjoyment out of it. Ren sat with Naruto on the bench, and sat against him. Naruto hugged her tightly, getting more and more used to the women now in his life. I don't even know anything about the Clan Restoration Act, and I signed up for it, Naruto sighed. Well, we could look for the Konoha rules on it if you want. I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard to find, Ren responded. Sounds good to me. The two of them headed off to the Hokage's office, knowing that would be the easiest place to find the information they needed. They got there fast, with both wanting to know the laws that came with the CRA. They walked up the steps, and Naruto decided to burst in the door. Tsunade! Naruto yelled coming into the office. Being shocked suddenly, Tsunade reacted as follows: shock from Naruto bursting in, terror from him not calling her grandma, and finally, fear that he knew about Sakura when she saw one of the wives behind him. In that instant, she said the worst thing possible. I'm sorry. I know I should have told you about Sakura. Naruto stopped dead in his tracks. Tsunade suddenly flushed with terror, realizing that he didn't really know, and Rin was suddenly worried altogether about if Naruto was going to be mad at her and the other wives. What? Was all he could whisper. Tsunade stayed quiet for a moment, thinking over her options. Naruto had not seen Sakura in 2 years, so some new information would have been nice. Apparently, she had hidden something from him. Naruto, sit down, let me explain, Tsunade said calmly. Naruto slowly walked over, and sat in the chair on the other side of her desk. Ren quickly walked in, and sat next to him. She turned toward Naruto, and instantly started talking. Naruto, when I went with the other wives yesterday, Sakura saw us and began yelling at some of us about getting into a Clan Restoration Act. Hinata, Temari, Samui, and I were allowed to leave, but as she yelled at Karen and Ino, we stayed inside, and it was a good thing we did. She almost hit one of them, but Temari and Hinata stopped her. She was arrested then, and we left. We didn't know how to tell you, but we knew we had to, but we just didn't know what to say. Ren explained, fidgeting. Tsunade and Naruto could both tell she was scared. Tsunade knew Naruto could get mad, but also knew that her fear was misplaced. I see, Naruto murmured. After she was arrested, Tsunade continued, she got her bail paid, and just disappeared. Since then, I have placed her in the Ninja Bingo book. If someone finds her, she is to be returned alive and unharmed, and a great amount will be paid. If injured or disturbed or dead, then they get arrested themselves. But Naruto started quietly. Why did she yell at Ino and Karen? Why was she so angry? She said they betrayed Sasuke, and said some not so nice things. Ren murmured. Naruto then stayed quiet for a while, obviously thinking very hard. He looked miserable now, though obviously tried to get over it quickly. Ren and I wanted to see the laws over the Clan Restoration Act, Naruto murmured. Naruto, if you are not up to it anymore, that is fine. We can go and talk. Ren offered, knowing he must have been horribly upset. No, I want to know what we are being put through, Naruto responded. Tsunade nodded, and walked to the wall of books on the side of her office. Pulling out a book slightly, she opened a secret drawer, containing several scrolls. You have scrolls hidden in an easy-to-find spot? Ren asked. These are the less important ones. Scrolls that, if stolen, could be redone to be better. It's like a half-obvious request to steal. Here is one of the reasons why these laws are very old. They were made during the start of this village, and are kept sacred by the older members of the council. Tsunade explained, and rolled the scroll out on the table. Would it be okay if I wrote some of this down to show the other wives? Ren asked. After Tsunade nodded, Ren pulled out a 4x6 red handbook, with a pencil, and read the scroll as she wrote quickly. Tsunade noticed her ability of staying on the writing lines, and keeping her writing form and fit, even though she never looked down to check. She must have been one hell of an umbu in the Mist Village. Good thing she is part of this village now. Tsunade thought as she watched Ren write as fast as she read, which seemed impossibly fast. Some of the rules seemed standard for something like this. Kids within the first year, no fewer than 1 per wife, but no more than 6 per wife. That would be 48. That seems like a lot, Naruto thought as he read over the rules. Hey, Granny. Why can't women be the center of a clan restoration act? Naruto asked. They can only bear one child, save twins or something like it, at a time. They are still asked, and paid, to have children. Just they can't as easily as one man and many wives. Tsunade answered, trying to say it as cleanly as possible. Gotcha, and children within the first year? So when we get married, what if someone doesn't have kids? Naruto asked. Tsunade pointed to a specific part in the scroll, and Naruto looked shocked. It read, unless proper reason is given, then the wives that has yet to bear children shall be removed from the marriage. Naruto sighed loudly. That part of the act bothered him the most so far. The rest had parts that also aggravated him, but not as much as that one. Is that fine with you, Rin? Children that soon? Naruto asked. That rule is in my village's CRA laws too. I figured this village would have it too, so yes, she said first analytically, then nervously. She felt happy thinking of having kids with Naruto. Sitting back after finishing writing the laws down, she waited patiently for Naruto to finish reading them. May I see the handbook you wrote in? Tsunade asked. Ren nodded, and handed her the book. Tsunade opened it, and smiled. The girl really did have talent. Tomorrow, would you mind coming here? I want to talk to you about your skills. You aren't in trouble, I promise. I have a job request. Yes, Lady Hokage. Ren politely responded. Naruto stopped reading, whispered something in Ren's ears, and returned to reading. Granny Ren corrected. Both Tsunade and Naruto looked shocked. I dared her to, but I didn't think she would do it, Naruto stated. He looked to Tsunade, who was actually staring at him now, knowing it was him that did it. Looking back at Ren, Tsunade spoke. I haven't killed Naruto for it yet, and I'm not about to kill one of his wives for it either. Welcome to the family. Ren smiled, and sat back again after getting her handbook back. She started wondering what Tsunade wanted with her, but decided to forget it until tomorrow. Some time later, Naruto and Ren started on their way back to the Hyuga compound in silence. It had been a while since they talked, and Naruto was starting to worry. He offered to take her back to his apartment, but she turned it down, wishing to return to the Hyuga compound. At first, he thought nothing of it, but now he worried it was because of something that had happened in the day. Hey, Ren, Naruto asked suddenly. Ren jumped at the sudden speaking, and looked to Naruto. Yes? Is everything okay? Yeah, I just wanted to ask, he started. After which, he had a quiet moment. Did I do something wrong? Ren's eyes grew wide, and she looked away. She realized she hadn't explained herself right away. Naruto, I need you to understand something. Yeah, is everything okay? Naruto asked quickly. Naruto, I have a very different view of life than the others do. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I encourage it. But I don't believe we should have an intimate relationship until we are married. I'm sorry, it's just something I believe in, Ren quickly explained. Oh, I was worried I had done something dumb, Naruto sighed. Listen, it's fine. I haven't always been the one to start the relations I have had with the others, but I have always respected them. We can wait as long as you feel comfortable, Naruto stated. Hearing him accept her ways made her happy. She smiled, grabbed his hand in hers, and turned her head away from him. As intelligent as she still was withdrawn from anything romantic, it seemed. Which made him seem to want her more. Naruto, stop it, you know how she feels, it's just something you can't have. When they got closer to the Hyuga compound, Naruto noticed Temari and Hinata outside. Naruto looked curiously at them, not knowing why the two were waiting alone. Seemingly behind a wall, the rest of the wives were listening intently. Temari and Hinata decided they needed to tell him now, so he could decide what he thought. Though they were worried, they had steel resolve. Is everything okay? Naruto asked, keeping Ren's hand tight in his. Ren blushed heavily, but kept herself mostly calm. Naruto, we have to talk, Hinata said quickly. I'm sorry if this bothers you, but Hinata and I may be in love, Temari stated quickly. The two looked at each other, blushed, and looked away. Naruto stood, stunned. He even let go of Ren's hand. Well, he started slowly. That really surprised me. Out of anything you guys could need to talk to me about, that is something I didn't consider. Are you okay with this though? Hinata mumbled. She awkwardly grabbed Temari's hand. Well, yeah. I mean, why wouldn't it be okay? But do you two still want to be in this, or would you rather leave the act? Naruto asked. He didn't seem overly bothered by it to them. Just cautious. Inside, he was a bit worried. He really liked them. Silly, Temari said, and moved with Hinata. Of course we want to stay with you, Hinata whispered as they got closer. They both kissed opposite sides of his face. Naruto blushed and smiled. Ren walked up to the two girls when they backed away and hugged them. I'm happy for you too. Me too, Naruto said, and hugged them all, with Ren in the middle. Ren blushed furiously, feeling Naruto pressing closely to her. He then kissed each one of them, making them all smile, and left Ren blushing more. We also had sex, Temari said suddenly. Naruto's face turned very red as he slowly thought about that. Temari! Don't just say things like that, Hinata yelled. He needed to know. Yeah, but it could have waited.